Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It's February 6th, 2023, a day that could possibly live on in infamy as we discuss the release of Portkey Games' Hogwarts Legacy and whether or not this is the next Gamergate. The internet's on goddamn fire, and we're going to be talking about it. Let's fucking go! Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. This is a weird episode. And it's one, I'm not going to lie, it's one that I've been dreading, covering, because, I know it's going to happen. But I've been sitting back and, watching the discourse play out, watching all the craziness play out. And all I'm seeing is 2014 all over again. It's making its way to a boiling point that's going to kick off another type scenario that was like Gamergate in 2014. I mean, not like 1-to-1. Okay, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Some people out there have thought that's what I'm getting at. Is it going to be like the old gang going to get back together? Are we going to fire up the torches and the pitchforks and storm Kotaku once again? No, none of that's going to happen. We're in a completely different world, and most of the people who were in the front part of Gamergate have moved on. But there's elements of it that still are kind of really prevalent in this specific moment in time. And generally what I'm referring to here is how it feels like gamers are once again being targeted, and I know that's there's a lot more here. It's a lot more nuanced. It's a lot more of a difficult situation overall, because I think, okay, to kind of start this thing off, we kind of have to go back in time a little bit. We do. I know people out there don't want to all the time, but we kind of have to go back. We have to go back to August 2014 and talk about Gamergate. Now, this is something, for those of you who don't know, I have absolute full working knowledge of, because I was right there in the center of it. And no, that's not a humble brag. I in many instances of what Gamergate became, I'm largely embarrassed by what happened when it was co-opted by Steve Bannon, when he sent in Milo Yiannopoulos under the guise of being a tech blogger to support Gamergate and give us the voice that were being denied and shut down by people in the games industry, in the media in the industry, who were afraid to speak up and say anything against, basically at that point in time, another version of a woke mob, which is one of the reasons why Gamergate, if you look at it in regards to the Wikipedia article, they call it here a harassment campaign, when in reality, it started off as, you could almost call it a pre-Me Too type situation, when you had Aaron Joney write the Five Guys Burgers and Fries blog post, the 9,000 word screed exposing his ex-girlfriend for the multiple instances of infidelity that she had during their relationship, complete with screenshots, complete with chat logs, and complete with all the information that you needed to know that this person, Zoe Quinn, is a horrible individual. And I'm not going to spend time diving into that, or diving into Anita Sarkeesian attempting to kind of bully her way into it, because that was a whole other thing. But in reality, that's what it was. And when you had people start to criticize Zoe Quinn and everything based upon this particular report, myself included, she started working with people in the games media who had connection to Reddit and other places as a way to absolutely shut down the conversation, leading to what is known as the Streisand effect to take place. And that's, quite frankly, what I'm talking about here when it comes to this specific instance. We're getting back into the Streisand effect situation over a video game, because people are mad at its world creator, not the game director, not the art director, not the creative team, not the creative lead. No one over there at Portkey Games is even being remotely looked at in the negative on this particular front. But because J.K. Rowling had made a comment back in 2020, I believe, and it wasn't something that I agree with. And she kind of doubled down on that when she gets pushed, when she gets, riled up, she's going to sit there and push back on it, that it's led to this specific instance. Okay. Because at this point, what we're seeing now are people who are just trying to cover the game being harassed online, people who are just doing it because it's their job. This is what they do at a time when this is the first big release of 2023. Gaming has been largely a little bit of a desert for the last couple months. We're gaining up or we're gearing up for the summer and everything else, but still there's a lot that is kind of not coming on the horizon for the next couple weeks. And these are people who rely, like a lot of us, on ad revenue based upon these kinds of big releases. And that's in essence what's happening today. And that's what I'm talking about when I say that it might potentially be the next Gamergate, because we're starting to see a lot of people targeted for, quite frankly, inaction. Inaction, not an actual action, not actually engaging in anything, not actually doing anything, but simply playing a game that they want to play or that they want to review. And even people who are saying, I am reviewing this because it's my job, you have to separate the art from the artist, are also being attacked. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Roman here says, the game's amazing, LOL, there are a lot of diverse characters. Yes, there's even a trans character in the game that is people think that was added into the game. They believe this. They believe that there's this trans, and I'll get to that later on. We'll talk about that. But they believe that there's this trans character that they are now trying to pick apart the name, to think that the name is something that JK herself came up with, that JK is somehow involved in this. It's some weird, they added a trans character into the game as to help with representation. You can be trans as a character in the game for representation purposes. You can be whatever. But apparently now that's considered just, what's the word I want to use here? It's simply just, a way to kind of bullet a Band-Aid on a bullet wound sort of thing. Even though this is being talked about. Yes, Wes Warlock here says these lists of streamers being made will be forgotten about in a month. That is until they're brought back up again. All right. Now, Justin here says J.K. Rowling has said that she uses her royalties as her IPs as a way to feel how she feels. That's not exactly what she said. All right. That's not exactly what she said. Here's what she says. Someone said to her, how do you sleep at night knowing you've lost the whole audience from buying your books? And she says, I read my most recent royalty checks and find that the pain goes away really quickly. That's not what she says. She did not say that she uses her IPs as a way to feel how she feels about trans people. This specific quote, in my personal opinion, gets absolutely taken out of context at every available opportunity. And I say that because this is a cheeky response to someone, firing a shot at her. How do you sleep at night knowing you've lost your audience? Well, I mean, I get my royalty checks and I do pretty well. It's just her firing back at the crowd. But because there is this whole implication based on things that she has said, never mind this specific blog post that came out 2 years prior in her own words, this is from June of 2020, talking about her feelings on the gender issues and everything else, that a lot of people have absolutely just jumped on that. And they think that she's just out there trying to deny people their rights. And I'm not too sure about all of that, to be honest with you, but I looked it up here. Okay. So let's kind of talk about what it is. I'm just going to do an overview of this. All right. So J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, has made some comments on social media that have been criticized as being transphobic and harmful to the trans community. She has voiced support for individuals who self-identify as women and has expressed concerns about the impact of transgender activism on women's rights. These comments have met with widespread criticism and calls for her to better educate herself on the experiences of transgender people and to take a more supportive and inclusive stance. Now, I think that she should open up her mind a little bit and understand that she completely created a world that is completely open with self-expression, but is still rife with bigotry and prejudice and slavery and classism and all of these things. And it's kind of funny to me that like this is one subject she like has a lot of issue with, but like I think part of what's happening here is that she's doing the classic response of doubling down when being attacked, right? Like it's like, I think that's really what it boils down to. Now, when I was looking this up and I was asking the question, how many trans people are there out there? All right. And there's really like no exact numbers, difficult to ascertain that specific information, but they believe that some studies have suggested at this point that it's 0.3 to 1% of the total global population. Okay. But it's only an estimate. The number could be higher or lower. And, you know, the number could actually be influenced by various factors, including cultural attitudes and acceptance, access to healthcare, and government policies. There's a lot going on with the trans debate right now. And a lot of it in conservative areas is not good. Like it's just a lot of it is just denying things that shouldn't be denied. Like healthcare should not be denied. Gender affirming healthcare should not be denied. I have my own personal stance on prescription drugs and things like that. I think that should be something that happens as people get older and they're able to make that decision as adults. That's my own personal stance on it. But I'm not about trying to diminish the experience or lived experiences of anyone. But in this, again, in this specific instance, it's because JK had donated to a group known as, what's it called here? I had that information. Okay. Fair Play for Women. This organization campaigns against reforms to the Gender Recognition Act in the UK and has been criticized by some for its stance on transgender rights and its opposition to allowing individuals to self-declare their gender. J.K. Rowling's donation to this group was seen as a public endorsement of its views and sparked widespread criticism from those who believe that the organization's stance on transgender rights is harmful and anti-trans. And it probably is. It probably is. But that being said, we've seen this before where conservatives have been largely, you know, if they donate to something, that ends up coming out in certain ways. Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, it turns out he donated to some Republicans or some groups, and that ended up being something that was, an attack against him. All right. So it's just, it's just that whole notion of it, right? It's not good. I don't like these debates because I feel that a lot of the times it's based in ignorance rather than it is in trying to understand somebody else's perspective. When it comes to J.K. Rowling, she has her lived experiences that she stands behind. And that unfortunately is kind of more of a boomer mindset, right? Where it's like her way growing up that shaped her experiences. And instead of trying to come to the table and meet with other people and discuss things with other people and have a better understanding, it becomes a lot of social media posturing. But in the process of that, because it's J.K. Rowling and because she has such a presence in regards to this stuff, in regards to, being an author, being a public figure, being all these things, people have outright been really dogpiling her. So she just comes out and she attacks back. And I think that's the bad way of going about it, because it just goes from good to worse. And like, it doesn't even go from good. It just goes to worse. It ends up just going to worse as time goes on, because anyone who fights on social media knows for a goddamn fact that it's pretty terrible. You know what I'm saying? Knows that this stuff doesn't have any real thought behind it. It's just, and I don't, sorry guys, it just ends up being this crazy thing. And this specific instance, what we're seeing here is we are seeing a mob of people attacking others online for trying to enjoy something that they want to enjoy, even though, again, the makers of the product the makers of the product, the studio of people that went from doing like, what was it like, was it Disney Infinity? Was that what they did? The Cars 3 game, I think they did, whatever. They go and they make this game, this big budget AAA game where that's getting really good reviews and people just want to play it. And JK hasn't promoted it. She hasn't been out there on media tours talking about it. She's largely moved away from it. She was already paid her royalty fees probably a long time ago before the game was even announced. And now they're trying to turn it into another piece of the culture war. And as a result of that, the harassment campaigns have begun because people on social media, I don't know, feel like they have to say something. They feel like they have to actually be involved in stuff. It's not Avalanche who did the Mad Max game, Sifu. It's Avalanche Software, not Avalanche Studios. It's not Avalanche Studios, it's Avalanche Software, I believe. And as a result, again, that's confusing. I don't even know how the hell that was allowed to get made, considering the fact that like Avalanche Studios made Mad Max for Warner Brothers. So it's kind of crazy here. All right. It's just overall, it's kind of nuts. It's it's pretty crazy. So, but again, okay, McLeod here, says JKR weaponizes her own personal trauma and makes it everyone's trauma. Isn't that what social media does? Everyone has the ability to just ignore her. And I think that's another element of this that has a lot of people not really realizing where we are, is that, you have the ability to look away. You have the ability to just not look, but instead it's kind of grown into this culture war. It's grown into this scenario where people are now just wanting to, I don't know, I think like get themselves worked up because they need to feel something. That's really what it boils down to in my opinion. Because look at this here. Okay. People who have just played the game. All right. What we have here is we've got Open Critic 85% out of 100, IGN 9 out of 10, VGC 4 out of 5, Metro 8 out of 10, Screen Rant 4.5 out of 5, Xbox Era, Gamerant, PS Universe, all of these other guys, right, are absolutely, all these outlets have been giving it high ratings. They've been giving it high praise. But other people out there haven't been because they don't want to touch it. They don't want to deal with it. Well, no, they don't want to touch it as a political stance. All right. They don't want to touch it as a political stance. And that is one of the funniest things to me. It's like, this is the kind of stuff that it's their job, in my opinion, to cover this kind of thing and to sit there and to go, okay, well, I don't want to cover it for political reasons. It's like, that's fine. You have the ability to do that, but don't grandstand on it. Don't grandstand on it. Like when you grandstand on this kind of crap, it ends up kind of biting you square in the booty. Like, for example, we got this one right here. We got, can you pet the dog? They are upset that that Harry Potter Games had tweeted at them just recently. And they said here that I won't be covering Hogwarts Legacy because I'm not in the business of enriching turfs. Instead, I've donated the price of the game to @Trans Lifeline. If you're able, please consider matching what you can. Great, right? Why not just donate instead of making it a political issue? That's the whole point. Why donate instead of making it a political issue, right? But then the funny thing is that people come on in and they're just like, hey man, didn't you like defend Blizzard and Overwatch during that whole time from a couple years ago? All right. And then if, look, so here, from Killfad here says you defended Overwatch after Blizzard's sex abuse scandal, which is true. Can You Pet the Dog did. And they came back and they responded. Some people are pointing out my past Overwatch post. The difference though, is that Hogwarts Legacy directly supports someone who wants to destroy trans people. Overwatch Deads made the game an often horrible environment. I don't want to shun their work because of what their abusers did. Okay. So one person gets a small percentage off of game sales who's also been paid to license the game sales. But that's okay to not do that. But Overwatch, where you had a systemic problem with a multitude of people involved, from management to developers over there at Activision Blizzard, that's okay to support that because, some devs, they want to get their, that they're not all bad. Right. The not all bad argument I love, especially when in this case, it's highly hypocritical and it's highly bullshit. That's what it is. It's just a lot of people that want to posture. They want to push this crap because that is just all they can do. And I'll show you guys this one here. This is a funny one to me. All right. Reset Era has banned all Hogwarts Legacy discussion. This is not new. They've been doing this for a while. Meanwhile, the admins are still collecting sweet advertising money. So you'll take the money from the company buying ad space on your website, but you're going to ban all of the conversations surrounding it. This is what I'm talking about. There is so much hypocrisy that is happening with this title. This is so, with all this bullshit. And it's really funny because it's getting ridiculous. So in the meantime, what you get is people that are just like, hey, maybe don't support this because JK sucks. And then other people are like, yeah, well, F you, I'm going to go out and buy 3-4 copies because I want to own the libs. Which is, it's just like it creates this weird situation where every side just starts escalating. Now, are people who are buying the game, are they buying it out of spite to not play it and give to someone who likes Harry Potter? I don't know. I would argue that in many instances, people are probably buying the game because you know what? They probably want to fucking play it. Because a lot of these people have most likely grown up reading or watching or experiencing Harry Potter in some form or another, and they love it. And to be fair, a lot of the people who are upset by what JK has said are people who have grown up like that. And their feelings are not invalidated. When they see someone who they view to be a hero saying things that invalidates in their experiences, they can feel a certain way about it, 100%. And that's all right. But what you do with that, I believe, is where the real meat of the situation is. It's what I believe. And in these scenarios, as we go further into social media, we start to realize that people out there, they just want to post, they just want to posture. They just want to do all this shit. And it's really for no other purpose than to just get social media points. McLeod here says, recently there was a petition sent to the Canadian Parliament House of Commons that's asking the Canadian government to grant trans people asylum when the mass exodus from the US and UK. Well, I mean, if that's fine, and the Canadian government's fine to do that if they want to. All right. Like they're okay to do that if they want to, but that doesn't really have much to do with this specific issue. We're talking about a fucking game at this point. All right. The larger conversation surrounding that in this country has literally nothing to do with this game because the person you're mad at isn't even a fucking member of this country. And I don't agree with those particular provisions happening in those states that are very red about trying to deny healthcare. And that's very much become the next side of the culture war. Now, Warden here is correct. To be fair, the game is being massively signal boosted by the outrage culture. It was free publicity and Hogwarts Legacy just sat back and said nothing. Smart business move on their end. That's actually not true. They did come out and make a statement a while back, indicating that JK had no involvement with the game. It's not that they didn't say anything. It's that they literally did say something and people out there just chose to willfully ignore it. And then we started seeing a lot of those posts that were just like, don't read the, don't get the game. Don't do this, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. You're terrible if you do, so on and so forth. And it's just kind of like, it's pretty ridiculous is what it really boils down to. And there's a lot of people that have been, bitching about this online. I wanted to showcase a little bit of this. Now, this comes in from Legacy Killa HD, who's been cataloging a lot of this. And I'm not a big fan of Legacy Killa overall, but here we go. It says, okay, they're pissed off. It looks like Kotaku writers confirmed Warner Brothers chose to not give them an early review copy. Other journalists are unhappy about the overwhelmingly positive reviews and the lack of spending a good deal of these reviews talking about J.K. Rowling's harmful views. And again, that's what it boils down to. It boils down to just like, yes, spend your review bitching about the woman who wrote the franchise almost 30 years ago, rather than the development team that spent the last 4 years putting this thing together and making it a AAA gaming experience, allowing longtime fans of the franchise to finally actually live in that world a little bit. I mean, God forbid, right? God forbid people actually did their jobs. Enthusiast press are generally considered non-op-ed, but because of the way that everything has gone recently, these guys have to be op-ed. And this again goes back to Gamergate. There was a lot of personality in games journalism that was there around that time. People with large followings that were able to really just kind of move from one outlet to another and bring those people with them. It's a very insulated environment. And if you don't believe me, if you don't believe me how crazy it can get, all right, I want to bring this up real quick here. Oh shit, hold on. There we go. All right, this website here, and this goes back to the Gamergate stuff, and this is something you should look at if you really want to understand what it is that was happening in regards with Gamergate back in the time. This is a website called deepfreeze.it. It says your trust should be earned. Learn about journalistic scandals with improprieties and form your own opinion on which journalists and outlets deserve your trust. Deep Freeze currently covers video game journalism, mainstream media coming soon. It did a lot of what the earlier stuff with Gamergate, the people that were out there criticizing gamers, attacking gamers, dehumanizing gamers constantly, were very much working behind the scenes to promote their friends, to promote their own political ideologies, and very much build up a small insulated group of people into having almost unfettered free media with no kind of ombudsman or editorial oversight at the time. It was a free-for-all that had no light shined on it until Gamergate came on. And then what's so funny is the EIC of Kotaku right now, Patricia Fernandez, actually was, I'll bring it up. I'll find her. I'll find the article here. She actually was writing articles, right? She was writing articles about her partner. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we go. Patricia Hernandez wrote 2 times about Sunset without disclosing her friendship with fellow journalist and occasional Kotaku contributor Lee Alexander, who was involved in the game through her consulting company, Agency for Games. Covered Dylan Holmes on 2 different occasions for Kotaku without disclosing that he was a writer for Nightmare Mode, a gaming news outlet of which Hernandez was a founder and editor-in-chief since as early as October 2011, prior to when Hernandez had covered him. Covered Cameron Kuzelman at least a couple times. Again, a staff member at Nightmare Mode. You had, here you go, wrote about her former partner, Christine Love, in 3 articles, originally disclosing their relationship only in the first. Discourse was added to both other articles after its absence was publicly pointed out. Wrote 6 times about her roommate, Anna Anthropy, originally without discourse. Wrote 2 times promoting Kickstarters by Gamer X, originally without disclosing her friendship with its president, Tony Roca, and other staff. Wrote 2 times about her friend Zoe Quinn, originally without disclosure. And this woman right now runs Kotaku. One of the most absolute unethical pieces of crap in gaming industry. 100%, like 100%. All right. That's what I'm talking about here. Is what you have is you have a lot of improprieties, a lot of unethical actions. So when we say that Gamergate was actually about ethics in games journalism, there's quite a bit of that. That was absolutely true. In the early stages. That was a case. After a while, that didn't happen. After a while, that went out the bat for their own version of the culture war, which pushed a lot of us out who really wanted to actually see people who write about this stuff ethically, right? Here's the thing. I call out chuds for their bad takes. All right. I call out chuds for their bad takes. These people are chuds just on the other side of the spectrum. It's called the horseshoe theory. And that's what a lot of these individuals are. They operate within their own ideological space, in their own echo chamber, and they don't want anyone out there to know about it. They don't want anyone out there to call it into question because they have the specific access. So yes, when Kotaku gets denied access to anything, I fucking love it because I love watching Kotaku get shit on 100%. It's a terrible organization and it deserves the mockery. So going back to this, We see here that 66 Jiang says, I'm excited to also find the review editors at which pubs are willing to take the Faustian bargain instead of doing right by their readers. So obviously talking about their job. All right. You got that one here. You've got, what is this here? Games Hub. Hogwarts Legacy does not deserve to be reviewed on its own merits. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. JK said things years ago. Yeah, she's antagonized people since then, which she shouldn't have done. I think that's stupid. But they're like, oh, no. Don't worry about what people have done, the work that these people have done to get this game out there. No, fuck them. Their experiences, their livelihoods don't matter. Let's just find a way to attack them. Not a fan of that, right? Again, every single critic couldn't even write a paragraph on dealing with the biggest disgusting views on the trans community have failed at what they're supposed to do on an intrinsic level and should quit writing. This person writes for VG247, GameSpot, Polygon, Eurogamer, right? Then she says here, I'm not being hyperbolic. If you can't engage with the politics laid out by its creator, even if the creator is not involved, you are not a critic. You are simply an advertisement. Okay, but then I guarantee you, if you were to look into these people and you were to ask these people flat out, like what movies they like, you could probably find a couple doozies in there full of people that they're not a fan of. Right? Like, oh, this one movie starred this one person. That person did some bad shit. I can still like the movie, just not like that person in the, you know what I mean? There's always a justification. Donovan here says, it absolutely does deserve to be reviewed on its own merits. It does. I think it's ridiculous to not review it on its own merits. Because this is all grandstanding. This is all posturing. This is just what happens. Then here's my favorite, Patrick Klepek. And I have a couple things to say about this walking chode. Saying here, watching gaming outlets jump through rhetorical hoops to justify coverage in Hogwarts Legacy isn't surprising. But it would be more honest if they played it straight and just said, our shaky business model does not allow us to ignore any game that might sell 100 million copies. And he goes on to say, games like Elden Ring justified salaries last year. If Hogwarts Legacy can provide a fraction of that value, websites that live and die on SEO will have no choice but to engage with it. Morality and ethics, and there's something else there. So let's talk about Patrick Klepek, right? Let's go back. We got to go back to 2014, Patrick Klepek. Patrick Klepek was really good friends with Zoe Quinn. In fact, when the Five Guys Burgers and Fries article was making its way to Reddit, it made its way to the R Games subreddit, where, believe me when I say, tens of thousands of people were talking about this. Tens of thousands of people were talking about this. And then Patrick Klepek and Zoe Quinn publicly on Twitter started communicating with one of the mods of our games who Patrick was personal friends with. And if I recall, right after that, tens of thousands of those comments were simply deleted. They started censoring and silencing anyone talking about this blog post with evidence of improprieties on Zoe Quinn's part. So much so that even Zoe Quinn sued Aaron Joni in order to silence him. And he ultimately was victorious against those censorship efforts, to the point of even like Zoe Quinn was like, can we please like end this lawsuit situation? And the judge was like, no, like you brought it on yourself. This is everything that's going on with this kind of shit. It's crazy. Shogun here asking, does Rowling get any cut of the profits? Probably a small percentage, just as she does off of every negotiation that happens when they move from one streaming service to another. Right now, all the Harry Potter films are available on Peacock, and all the Harry Potter films went from HBO Max to Peacock, meaning that there was a deal struck. So Universal paid Warner Brothers probably hundreds of millions of dollars in order to obtain the streaming rights for the Harry Potter movies, because of how popular they are and how much they tie into the popularity of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at both Universal Orlando and Universal Hollywood, which means that J.K. Rowling every year gets an update on those royalty payments. Not only that, but every piece of merchandise, every DVD sale, Blu-ray sale, digital sale, soundtrack sale, book copy. Oh, you name it. She gets a cut of everything. So that's just how it is. Of everything. Literally everything. So if you are so against Hogwarts Legacy, by God, if you have Peacock, you better cancel your Peacock right away. But while you're at it, cancel your HBO Max too, because they're eventually going to get Harry Potter back. And oh no. And right now they have all this, the Fantastic Beasts movies, the real crimes against humanity. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's very crazy like that. So when you start thinking about the coverage that is being put on this game and how profits are shared and how deals are made, you start to realize that this is all just very ridiculous. It's all just very stupid. It's all just very performative. And it's sad. It's kind of sad, actually. So moving on here, French game outlet Game Cult, Jesus Christ, that's a cringe fucking title, is refusing to review or give coverage to Hogwarts Legacy because of Rowling. The game's writers are pissed at IGN and other outlets for only putting warning labels about Rowling's views in their reviews. Because even IGN understands that it's like you have to separate the art from the artist in regards to these situations. Because the artist in question had nothing to do with this specific instance. Right? Now, here's my question. If they did another Harry Potter movie and J.K. Rowling wasn't involved, would these people still do the exact same thing? Probably. But would it work? No, it'd be an absolute effing success because it's a very popular franchise. But that's just, again, that's just a lot of complaining. All right, it says here, like, this is from Game Cult. We refuse to give an echo to a brand whose economic and media weight benefits a woman erected as a figurehead of a movement of hatred. A woman whose activism aims to roll back the rights of trans people who are already constantly dehumanized. I would agree with that statement if I could find more evidence supporting it. What appears to be a one-time donation to a group a couple of years ago is not a concerted effort on a public front to try to deny rights, as far as I can tell. That doesn't make it right to donate to that kind of group if that's their primary aim. I'm not agreeing with the donation. I'm merely pointing out, if it's true that there are continual donations, of which I do not know, then that changes things. But if it's just a one-time thing that we know of from a couple years back, it's this narrative people have crafted in their own mind. And that's a big factor. Matt Smells. Thank you, Saggy. I appreciate that. Thank you. All the movies are available on HBO right now. I don't believe they are, Ralph. I tried looking. They were not there. I'm just saying that's kind of where we find ourselves on this at the moment. But I want to get into, I got to bring this up here. So give me a second to find it. There's a lot of info that, we were able to collect today. But I want to bring up this one here when talking about harassment, right? So what we've got is a tweet from Dextero that says Twitch chat bullies streamer for playing Hogwarts Legacy to the point of making his girlfriend cry. And this is kind of a part of where we find ourselves today, where this is going, and this is where things are headed.
Now it's like, whatever. I'm almost like thinking of just like either going offline or like I'm barely into the second combat here. And every time I look at chat, it's just the conversation is just like
maybe we can do like
bothering
a
me.
be right back. Like a little break or something.
You can take a break if you want. I'll just stop talking and I'll just go fight and do the combat. Y'all done did it now. Flip up and now it's like whatever. I'm almost like,
yeah, I mean, they just people who just want to play the game, just want to enjoy the game, are effectively being told, they're being bullied off of trying to do, they're being bullied off of trying to just enjoy something that they want to play, that they're excited for. And here's where we get into the really crazy thing. All right. This is where we get in to something that I feel is this is where we're going to get to the harassment side of things. This is a website called HaveTheyStreamedThatWizardGame.com. Log in with Twitch and check to see if anyone you follow has played that game. So instead of just ignoring people who play it, instead of just ignoring people that are trying to that are trying to just, do this for their job or do this for enjoyment, they are now creating websites that say, hey, do you follow a Twitch streamer that has played the game? This is a list if you think about it, and there's going to be lists, like there's absolutely going to be lists that come out there. Certain forums, certain tweets are going to have that. People are going to be saying, this streamer played Hogwarts Legacy and didn't condemn J.K. Rowling 100%. And that becomes the new part of the culture war. And what sucks about that is I was actually listening to Keemstar have a Twitter space earlier, of which there were quite a few trans creators that jumped on in there. And they were, a lot of them, I'd say the vast majority were like, they don't speak for us. Just go play the game, and this is not good. Like, this is not going to end well, and it's kind of weird how some of this stuff is going to end up coming out. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, guys. It's just like, I've seen this shit play out before. I've seen this stuff go this way before. And it's just, all it does is it just pushes people further and further to their side, and that's the unfortunate side of it, where it's fucking terrible. Oh my God. Right now, Ryan Kennel is live streaming the game to like 800 people. That's a bigger problem on that, right? That's actually a bigger problem on that, because he's only doing it to troll. He doesn't actually care. None of these guys actually give a shit about that. They don't actually care about these sort of things. What they want is just to make as much outrage content as humanly possible. And that, unfortunately, is just where these things currently are. So, anyway, H-Bart's here. Thank you, buddy. It says, last night off, finally did see the audio I sent you. Oh, yeah, I saw it. I'll play it later. Yeah, I'll play it later. Thank you for that, though. But anyway, let's see. Jess here says, I bet most of the people attacking people who are playing the game are not even trans. I mean, I don't know how many of them are, how many of them aren't. I think it's pretty crazy. Command Unit here says, Gamergate Mark II, Return to the Blue Skull. Yeah, no, I don't want it to turn into this thing, but there's no denying that people have tried to turn Hogwarts Legacy into an element of the culture war. And they're doing it like in such a stupid way, because they're feeding into a machine that they know lives and thrives on outrage. All they're doing is just trying to solidify this ideology to their base. And they're trying to, in many instances, let's be fair, in many instances, many of them are also trying to just like directly profit off of that kind of stuff as well. Let's be 100% real on this, right? A lot of it is just that. Even the people that are like, the quartering, I'm going to buy multiple copies and give multiple copies away, right? He'll do that in a video where he'll make several $100 more than what he actually spent. And he can even write off those games as a write-off. It's so crazy shit. It's absolutely just, it's nutty to me, guys. It's nutty to me. It's sad that it's gotten this far. The game looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited to play it when I can. I don't know when I'll be able to, but I am looking forward to playing it when I can. I hope people out there can enjoy it for what it is. I really do. I really hope people out there can enjoy it for what it is, and that we can actually talk about the game in a way that is meant to be talked about, which is, hey, the merits of the game versus what JK said 3 years ago now. And people are bringing back up, even though she's not actively engaging in this shit at the moment. I'm going to bring up her Twitter real quick. See if she's talking about this. Okay. So let's see what she says. Let's just actually see what JK is saying at this point. This is her Twitter. All right. She does have this tweet here, which is definitely going to be a problem. All right. She says here, men defining what a woman is, what a woman should and shouldn't fear, what women should and shouldn't say, what rights should be fine with giving up, and of course, what constitutes real misogyny. Get a bloody mirror, that's real misogyny, looking right back at you. That is something that's controversial. And obviously we know where it's aimed at. And that was from about a week and a half ago. All right. But she's still not like talking about the game. Like she understands. So she's keeping it to herself. She's keeping it to everything else. But people are just trying to use it as a way to, you know, because it's such a big release. That's what it is. Anyway. Yeah. What's Andy Signor say about this? I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't care. Hey, what's up, beta boy? JK are regularly active in the anti-trans comms and legislation in the UA. She donated to one organization from what I could find. If there's been more than that, I have not been able to find it. She is staying far away from the game 100%, but people are trying to drag her into it. So, and I think that's unfair to the developers. I think that's very unfair to the developers. I think she's an idiot, quite frankly, but I think that's unfair to the people who made the goddamn game. That's my point. I don't care. I should probably make that abundantly clear if I haven't already. I don't care about J.K. Rowling. I don't care about her stupid ass opinions. I haven't remotely even given a shit. But what I care about are the people who spent years working on the game and trying to get it out there, going as far as to add a trans character for representation, to add the ability to play as a trans character for representation purposes, which is great. And that's just being shit on because it's in the moment. People are like, oh, it's just, you know, whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's bullshit. It's bullshit in my mind. And this is the kind of crap that leads to things like Gamergate. Although I did find this specific title I thought was pretty goddamn funny, and it kind of speaks to the whole situation. Hogwarts Legacy review in progress. It'd be a lot easier to dismiss the game if it weren't so good. And therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. Is that so many people out there are going to just be like, you know, it's a good game apparently. And as a result of that, that's what's turning it all into. It's funny. Tony here says the game devs are not guilty by association. Yeah. Well, I mean, good thing their names, but they're not guilty by association. But when you have a AAA game like this, especially when it comes out through a big publisher like Warner Brothers, they put certain stipulations, all right, on bonuses. So either a good Metacritic score or, a good audience score or meeting sales numbers, things like that. So, I mean, like this game is, you know, like that kind of stuff is not, I believe at this point going to be impacted. All right. But it's one of those scenarios where it's like, it's something that could have been impacted. They have no problem trying to target and damage the developers. I saw a YouTube short last night that I cannot for the life of me fucking remember. I just can't for the life of me remember what it was that I saw. It was, I just, if I can only find my freaking, there we go. I got to find my history. I might be, there we go. Okay. So this popped up. I saw this last night and I have to say that I vehemently disagree with the assertions of this specific Council of Geeks response, predominantly for what's said at the very end and what they're implying at the very end. And I'm not a fan of that because I feel, again, it's just it's trying to diminish work because you don't like the person involved. Command Unit here for 2. Thank you. Says Gamergate 2, the turf wars. I mean, dude, I don't fucking want it. I mean, look, considering the fact that for some reason right now, that is like trans people, that is like the new culture issue with the right. It's not new. It's been around forever. And they've been really trying to like silence that shit. I think it's possible, you know, the right wing is going to jump on that shit. So, all right. So this is, I saw this last night and it did bother me specifically because of just like the ending of it.
That won't seem to die, so let me make something very clear. If you buy the Hogwarts Legacy game, you are contributing to transphobia. Even if you consider yourself an ally, even if you yourself are trans, you are contributing to transphobia. And that is not an opinion, it's a fact. J.K. Rowling, both through the words she says and direct financial contributions, is signal boosting and enabling multiple groups and individuals who are actively pushing for the stripping away and restricting of rights of trans people, especially in the UK right now. And it's working. If you pay for that game, you're contributing to that. Rowling has made it very clear she believes every penny of the residual checks that she gets to be proof that
that's actually
support
bullshit.
her and are fine with
That's
what
bullshit.
she's doing.
Remember, I showed you guys.
And no matter
that's
what
bullshit.
other rationalizations you have, I'm supporting the devs. I just really love this universe. That's fine, but you are also contributing to transphobia. Although note I said if you buy it, not if you play it. There's a debate to be had about big streamers, whether they should be boosting it, but for your average person, if you find a way to get it without paying for it, well, it's a topic that won't see.
Yeah, see, I don't support that. I'm sorry. It's like there's an argument to me about big streamers them playing it, right? Oh, but that's not something I want to talk about. But for the normie average person, pirate the game, steal it. Take away from the devs, take away from the company, take away from hitting their sales goal, potentially getting a bonus at a time when there's rampant inflation in the United States. It's just it's fucking ridiculous. It's entitlement incarnate, in my opinion. And look, and the thing is, I support trans rights. I think trans women are women, trans men are men. I'm fine with all that shit. I don't give a fuck. But it's this virtue signal bullshit that I don't like. You guys have to understand that is where I'm coming from. It's the fucking culture war, virtue signal, horseshoe theory, chud watch nonsense. That's what it is. They have a better overall message that they're trying to send, but I don't like the tactics. That's my point. How is Jim Sterling taking this? I think, I don't know, about as well as you would assume that Jim or Stephanie. I don't know what their preferred pronoun. I don't pay attention. I only recently found out about like Jim being Stephanie, or is it Jim Stephanie Sterling now? I don't know. So whatever you can tell me on that one. That's the thing. It's yeah. John here says douchebag video Aristotle logic should be outlawed. The old I'm right because my logic is correct. Then they add I know better ego talking. It's kind of what it feels like. Right. Wardner says, what a shit taker. Fucking royalties from this fucking game are dropping the bucket for her. She has more money than the British military throws into funding annually. I mean, yeah, she's, there you go. You can get a trans creator on and debate this. What's there to debate? There's nothing to debate with the person. I'm going to be going off about a culture war, we're talking about a culture war scenario here. I support the concept. I support trans rights. I've not said anything against trans people. If there's a pronoun, I really try to make sure that I acknowledge that and respect that. That's not what this is about. What this is about is something about calling out the virtue signal nonsense. We see this on both sides. The problem with the left, McLeod, and this goes to you too, is you come in the chat all the time and you fucking go off on the chuds. But when people are on the other side or actively doing it, actively bullying, you're fucking silent. Oh, no. Debate other people. I'm not debating anybody. I don't need to debate anybody. I'm not Dane. I don't want to debate. I like to debate people. A lot of people don't like to debate me, but I'm not making that part of my shit. So it's kind of like the whole point is like, I'm not that. You do spend a lot of time over there, and by all means, have at it, Hoss. Have fun. I like Dane quite a bit. But that's the kind of crap that he's into, and I'm not into that. I like to go at it hard. And here's the thing, is more or less, I'm on their side with a lot of this shit. I just don't like the virtue signal. That's where I'm at with it. I just don't like the virtue signal. I think it's pointless. I think it's counterproductive. I think it's all about shutting down conversation rather than having it. So debating this subject matter over the issue of whether or not you should buy the game is pointless when it has little to do with actual culture. That's what I'm talking about here. But Command Unit for 2, thank you, says, I missed a Total Biscuit era of gaming. Yeah, his take on this would have been very interesting. I mean, I've largely checked out of where gaming is because I just don't give a shit anymore. This specific topic caught my attention because I started seeing a lot of ugly shit rearing its head. That's what I saw. That's what I've seen. So that's what got my attention. But I mean, other than that, it's like the devs have done nothing wrong. The devs have tried to be inclusive. The devs have actually tried. They've listened. They've put out statements. They've said that the JK is not associated with this. She's not actively talking about this, so it's like, leave them out of it because they're not part of this. But trying to drag them in order to bolster a culture war because the game's coming out, and with that comes a lot of freaking ad spend, and that comes a lot of attention. That's what it is. It's not even about the goddamn game, and they're making it about the game. Like, that's what pisses me the fuck off. And it should anger you too, because they're dragging in unnecessary individuals into their culture war when they've got a problem with someone who hasn't even been involved in the thing. And it doesn't matter the representation that they've tried to ascertain, that they've actually added to the title. None of that matters. None of that matters. They're just like, no, you're wrong. It's ego. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. And that's really what it boils down to. As sad as that is to say. So it's crazy. Jarbo's done with the BS Bloodsport. There's nothing to debate. It's nothing to debate. It's not that there's nothing to debate. I mean, but again, what you're talking about here, here's the deal. Here's the thing. It's not that having a debate over the subject matter wouldn't be interesting to an extent, but I can already tell you where the debate would go. I would go, what does this have to do with the price of tea in China in regards to the game? They would say, well, she gets paid. Okay, well, she gets paid for everything related to Harry Potter. So what about that? Why aren't you outside of Walmart protesting Walmart? Why aren't you outside of Universal Studios protesting the shutdown of that? What is it specifically about this title that is now prompting you to want to call for a boycott when she literally has nothing to do with this? She has as much to do with this as she does with the Hogwarts, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter over there at Universal Studios. The multiple different Harry Potter themed shops in LA and New York. Where is that? That's my question. They don't have an answer for that, to be honest with you. They really don't have an answer with it, because it's not like she said things. She has said things recently, but this controversy kicked off in 2013 or in 2020. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore came and went. The movie didn't do well because it wasn't a good movie. But the controversy surrounding that had very little to do with what she had said. It was, I think, largely because a lot of the fans had seen The Crimes of Grindelwald and were like, what the fuck is this? So it's like you have a vocal minority of people on the internet that are trying to do everything they can to latch onto something that is largely irrelevant to their overall argument. And that's it. It's wasted activism. This is why I have a lot of problem with like online activism, because a lot of it's just baseless. A lot of it is just like, I'm mad. And we call this out on the Chud side too. We call this out on the Chud side all the fucking time. So why is it that when it comes to people on the left doing it, it's like, even if they've got the best of intentions, they still act like a bunch of whiny bitches. And that ends up being the bigger problem. So I'm just saying, that's all it is. That's literally all it is. It's about the small victories. There's no small victory to be had here. There's no small victory to be had, flat out. I wish there was. There's no small victory to be had. If they got people so worked up that they are attacking and bullying other people as a result of this, that does not make them the better fucking person. That really doesn't make them the better person. In fact, it really does make them the aggressor, and it makes them the asshole. And I think that's one of the things people out there need to remember, is that it can go both fucking ways. You've got, you've got people that are like trying to just like talk about it, and like this one here, you got this woman, I'll bring this up. If I could find my page again, there's StreamYard. All right. The level of infighting and hate in my feed this morning is heartbreaking. If you're boycotting Hogwarts Legacy, cool. Boycott the game, not the players. Keep the focus on our shared fight. Forget her name, which is a fine thing to say. And then like this person here says, I'm going to boycott you more. I don't know. I'm assuming that Punish Kate is, oh yeah, she's definitely like a troll. But again, a lot of people are just like, because here I heard like, it's like people just, she's getting kind of torn apart. I don't even know what do the quote tweets say. If I could bring up the quote tweets here. A lot of people just kind of going at it, right? Just whatever. But again, anything people have on it. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the best example. Okay, let's see. HBarts here says, tweeting on an iPhone made by slaves in China. That's what I always tell my one coworker who's an online activist. I mean, What that is, and even to an extent what this is, and I'm sure I don't even know if Beta Boys is still here or not, but I know he would absolutely agree with me. This is like unfettered capitalism. It's just like we will excuse certain things for other things based upon convenience, accessibility, and our society. In many instances, this is just unfettered capitalism. Ralph Double Tits here says JK has become IRL Voldemort to these people. Yeah, I know, right? It's really interesting. That to me is the funniest goddamn fucking thing. You sent me the thing that Brianna Wu has said. All right. Oh yeah, man, I'm blocked by her. I've been blocked by Brianna for years, but like, I don't think I should be able to bring this up. Hold on here. Okay. I've been blocked by her for years, ever since she went to 8chan, in my opinion, and fake doxed herself, which is what I think actually happened. She ended up, I called it out back then and she blocked me for it. So have I talked about Ant-Man's social media reactions? I haven't. I don't know if I will tonight. Tonight's kind of a different stream. I just wanted to talk about this, get this one off my chest, get this one off my plate. Brandon Wu says Hogwarts Legacy isn't a game, it's a character test, and a lot of people are about to fail it. Says the woman who talked about moon rocks falling from space. If you don't know anything about Brianna Wu and her lies, my God, if I could show you guys without universal sci-fi, like absolutely like blocking this video, I would show you guys her segment from The Internet Ruined My Life, which is so melodramatic and just hyperbolic. Look, Brianna Wu is an absolute fucking liar. 100%. 2 failed bids for Congress in Boston, and she dipped out. She's just everything she can do as a way to try to get some kind of relevance. No one likes Brianna Wu. No one. They tolerate her because they kind of have to, but no one likes her. Believe me on that. Let's see here. I can't because she's, well, okay, hold on. What else did she say? Okay. Let's see. Oh, in case anyone's asking, I have not bought Hogwarts Legacy. So I know. People talk about it like I haven't bought it. I want to play it, but I haven't bought it yet. So, okay. So this is Brianna. All right. So you've got the bookseller here says, after exceptional 2021 results, Pottermore, the global digital publisher for J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, saw profits drop by 40%. That's the thing. She says, fuck around, find out. This is why it's really important for decent people to boycott Hogwarts Legacy. I have a lot of friends in games media, but I will be cutting ties to anyone who promotes this. She makes that like threat all the time. She makes that threat all the time. Now, Pottermore might also have dropped in 2022, not necessarily because of that, but perhaps because there was like really nothing good that came out. I mean, that's another factor as well. We'll have to wait to see how it goes this year. But again, a lot of people are going to be jumping on in. Let's see here. Warden says, buy Hogwarts Legacy live on stream. Don't let the chubs stop you from having fun. I'm a little strapped for cash at the moment. Like that's the reality of it. So there's that. I'm not I'm not broke. I'm house poor. That's the word I want to use, is house poor. That's what it is. Jay here says, shame Max wasn't streaming tonight. I was looking forward to a good roast again. I don't know what Max is going to take on this. I'm kind of surprised Max didn't. Yeah, you know what, Robo, yeah, man. Yeah, I'll talk to Robo about it. Robo wants to come in, Beta Boy. I do like Robo. So, having a conversation about it is good. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the conversation, not a debate, because I think we're on the same size. What if I give you $70, you buy it on stream? It'd be for Xbox, but like that's a pretty generous thing there. I don't know. Hold on to your butts on that one there, man. All right. I do want to get the game though. It does look like a lot. I was watching some gameplay footage of it tonight, and just like the combat looks fun and everything. And like, look, you guys got, like, I've been reading Harry Potter since I was 19. Since I was 19, I've been reading Harry Potter. So like I've always loved the world. I've always loved everything about it. I feel like the biggest problem that I have with this predominantly is just, again, this goes back to like how I view the culture war. A lot of this is just optics in my opinion, and I don't like what I view as a collateral damage. I think is the best way I want to say it. I think that's kind of the thing. But hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. No, look, I like a good conversation. I know we're going to disagree on this. I saw earlier you're tweeting about it. I was like, oh yeah, we're probably going to massively disagree on this topic.
I don't know if you saw it, but I wanted to like just give some quick context.
Yeah.
Sorry to talk about. I don't know if everybody in the chat has seen what we're talking about, but I'm going to talk around them real quick. But there was somebody in there that said, I don't know if you saw it, that said Sargon is vindicated.
Oh, I did see. I think that was more of a joke.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I'm like,
No.
What kind of crowd is this bringing in?
Like, well, because I mean, like I was in Gamergate, right? Like, about all that.
No,
okay.
I heard about,
So yeah, so I mean, like when I say in it, I mean like at the center of it, like in the very beginning. So like I have.
Dane was telling me something about that.
So like my take on a lot of this is just, again, it's very I don't like collateral damage. In these situations, and I feel like that's what people want to do when they're not getting their answers. This happens on the right quite often. I feel like and now we're kind of seeing it on the left. And I've been largely like, I'm a policy progressive just on a political viewpoint, and so but a lot of like the culture war shit just kind of rolls off my back because I'm like, I don't care.
Sure.
But it's like I'd rather there be progress rather than just incessant whining online. But that's just me.
Right.
So when I look at a game like this, and when I say about the Gamergate thing, like really what I see is just like this coalescing around like fear of talking about the situation in a way that's productive. So I started the stream. I don't know if you listened to the start of the stream. I kind of gave a brief overview about Gamergate and how it came to be, and like there was rampant censorship. I myself was DMCA'd for just talking about it. There was like legal situations with the guy who wrote the blog. He was literally like, legally shut down from speaking, blocked from being able to speak. Never mind, he provided evidence of his claims. And there was never, but the problem though is that the internet ran with it in a way that was like the whole like sex for favors, sleeping for game review, whatever, right? Like that wasn't ever real. It was a joke somebody made, and then it just ended up steamrolling into the narrative. And it just got a lot of us like, oh God damn it, we didn't want that. And so that's where a lot of that kind of came from way back in the early part of it. And then of course, Steve Bannon co-opted it, and that's something that Sargon, I mean, if you want to talk Sargon real quick, right? This is true, go back to the fall of 2018, right? If you want to see the funniest goddamn thing, if you can, and I don't know if you'll be able to, he was interviewed. Right after Bannon was fired from the Trump White House, Bannon fled the country. And he went to the UK, and he set up an interview with Sargon, and they did this like hour-long interview. And then right after that, Sargon got in on the UKIP stuff. Right. And then I even remember reading at the time that Bannon had talked about wanting to refocus his efforts to trying to find a way to influence UK policy. Right. But then, we saw what happened with that. Sargon tried going full Trump and killed the UKIP party. Like Nigel Farage had to come out of retirement.
Right. I will say this much, basically what I wanted to do real quick was just provide like what I think might be a third perspective.
Sure.
Right.
Top it in, throw it up. Yeah.
And so, and I'm being sincere in when I DM'd you, I'm like, just a discussion, like a good faith discussion, because I noticed that you do take care to use pronouns, and then I would not consider you a TERF or anything like that. And I definitely understand just so everybody here understands that I get it with regard to what the problem is, right? So you have virtue signalers, or you have people out there like the people in the chat of that clip you saw where the wife is, you can tell she's trying not to cry and etc. Like, yeah, I think that is irrational, antisocial behavior. It's not okay, and it doesn't do anything for the movement. However, I wanted to ask something. the position itself, right? And I don't mean this in the bigger context of Gamergate. I'm kind of zooming in a little bit, but the position itself of, I don't think people should be playing this game. I'm not going to even try to like sugarcoat it and say, well, I'm not going to play this game. And if you do, you do, right? I'm okay with saying I don't think people should play this game, right?
Okay.
But like I said in the chat, like I don't think it's something like I have close friends, like friends, other content creators that I'm like that are like pretty much saying exactly everything that you've said. And I go, okay, well, I disagree, but all right, you want to play some Hunt Showdown later? Like, it's not like anything world ending to me, right?
Yeah.
However, some people don't even like the fact that I would say that, no, I don't think you should play it. And one of the arguments I get is she's rich anyway. This is a drop in the bucket. Like everything that's already been said. But here's a question for you and anybody else is when we talk about things that we do, I think everybody makes principled decisions in their life at some level, right? Let's pick an easy one. Dog fighting. We don't think that animals should be abused, right? I think it would be silly if I said, let's say I'm defending dog fighting and I go, are you vegan? Do you understand the kind of abuse that pigs go through to get to your plate? And then there might actually be a point that might actually be kind of valid because of the abuse that animals might, but it would not be accepted to go, therefore you should not be against dogfighting, right? I personally abstain from Chick-fil-A, but not Taco Bell, where the CEO probably also supports, it's not an all or nothing for me. So in this particular case, I don't think that it makes sense to hate you, cancel you, try to get you to lose money and call you a turf. I don't even think you have to be a turf to play the game. But I am saying that as a cis dude. So, maybe it doesn't weigh as much, but I do think it's silly for anybody to go that it never matters, as if all principled decisions have to be, have some sort of like concrete result or 100% all, because nobody's 100% on any principle that they have. It's impossible to be, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I see your point, and I get what you're saying about the dog fighting, and but I mean, I think the example you provided also really kind of brings up like whataboutism.
Okay.
And that largely plays a part in many discussions, you know what I mean? And I think it kind of gets off the topic a little bit, but I see why you would use it. I get it in the context of what you're saying.
Well, how so? Help me understand that. What do you
mean?
What
I mean by that is like when you go like, well, a dog fighter go, oh, but what, are you vegan? Like, what about that? It's like, it is a deflect away from the core conversation, the should animals be abused? But like the answer to that is obviously no, but we do. You're right. There's no 100% principled stance we can take. Right. You don't go to Chick-fil-A. I've eaten there one time ever.
It's underrated anyway. But.
I mean, we have one near me and I pick up food from there, and usually it's higher paying orders from Chick-fil-A. I think because there's only just the one.
Right.
And I'm like, man, it smells really good. But I'm like, I don't want to, I'm never back. I'm like, I'll go to freaking Burger King.
The line is always out the door.
It's
too.
insane.
I'm like, no, it can't be that good.
Here's a real quick tip for you though, right? Do you like Popeyes?
I do. I love Popeyes. Yeah.
Same company that owns Popeyes recently bought out Burger King like a couple years ago. So all the chicken sandwiches at Burger King are the same thing as Popeyes.
No shit.
No shit. That's what they told me.
I thought you were gonna say Chick-fil-A bought out Popeyes. I'm like, don't say. You can't tell me that.
No. Popeye's chicken is a shiznit though, flat out. Gotta love little Nikki. But I mean, I'm just saying there's that. So a little side note there. I think when we talk about this though, like, I understand what you're trying to say. I don't think that, well, okay, let me ask you this. Why is it out? Okay. If we were to remove, let's say, the monetary side of Hogwarts Legacy. Okay. Let's kind of remove that from the equation. Cause I do feel,
and I do. By the way.
Okay, that's good. I do feel that it is a worthy thing to discuss, but again, it's like we have no way of knowing what the direct payout is. So I understand the drop in the bucket, the what about that kind of stuff. I get that. But like, what about it as a whole outside of that would want you to not get people to play it?
Sure. So that's, I don't even really care about the money part. Because not because it's not important, but because you and everyone else is right. It doesn't stop her from being a billionaire, and the amount of licensing. And then if you care about that, then you must care about this and the HBO. Everything you said is like, that's all valid. And that's why it's not really part of my calculus.
Sure.
Here's what it is about. And this is the fault of J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, through articles and what she does, as far as where she puts her money in the UK, the kind of stuff, what she has on her pin tweet, she is the face of transphobic ideology, and it just is what it is. That's what she has chosen to make her legacy, since 2013, 2014, like you said, right? And so that's what it is. And when I look at something like the face of it, right? So it's like, am I gonna go buy Harry Potter? No. But will I buy a movie from the same studio who pays her, et cetera, et cetera? Sure, maybe not. But at that point, it becomes a conversation about accepting, what am I trying to say? It's really about accepting like the principles, what we're allowed to ignore, right? And so I'm not doing a whataboutism.
It's a tough conversation to have because it's layered. It's very layered,
right?
Right. It's like, man, I love fucking Pulp Fiction, but goddamn fucking Harvey Weinstein.
Exactly. You know what's funny? I do streams, and somebody said something, and I'm like, okay, well, what can you do? I love Pulp Fiction, and I wear Pulp Fiction is, and I know what kind of dude that makes me look like, but I don't give a shit because I love the movie. But it goes like this. Here's where I'm not even trying to change your mind or anybody else's mind. Right
sure. I don't think you are.
Wording clips that, when is it okay to enjoy Harry Potter? I don't know. Right now, whenever you feel like it. I'm not trying to change your mind. What I'm actually doing is supporting my position, right? Because I'm not even saying the other position is illogical or anything. I'm just saying that not everybody is virtue signaling or doing some, like, I'm just want brownie points. It's coming from a place where, and this is the analogy.
Sure.
Let's say J.K. Rowling is not a transphobe, but a convicted I don't want to demonetize.
Trust me, I don't make any money on the back end of these streams. I say a lot of shit.
Okay, so let's say she was just hypothetically, she's a pedo. She's convicted. This was a big thing in 2010. She did her time 2 years later, and now she continues on with this stuff. But more than that, she's goes out there and says some really wild stuff about minors that consent and pushes for legislation to lower the age of consent. Let's pretend that since 2013, her legacy, what everybody knows her for outside of Harry Potter, is pushing to lower the age of consent and supporting man-boy love shit, right? Nobody would blink twice about saying, I'm not playing that game. The one that sends money to that pedo? Like, no way, right? And we would all say, yep, I agree. So, and that right there becomes, first of all, do you agree? Would it be an easier sell to say, I'm not playing that game if that scenario played out that way?
I think on that particular front, yeah, I wouldn't have I would not have an issue with that. But I think it also depends, like if it was like, let's say George Lucas in Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. Or George Lucas in Indiana Jones, just as an example of something that I vehemently love.
Right.
Man, that would, if like, that would be
that's fair.
That would be a hard sell to say no to that, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
Because it's like, it is like, I'm like at my wall right now, I've got a Millennium Falcon rug and a Death Star rug pinned to my wall. Like, I love Star Wars, So if that were the case, I could understand. I would have to be like, okay, this person could like just not be involved in anything. right? And I think that becomes the key. Like if it would have been like for example, the movie Powder and Jeepers Creepers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the director of both of those movies is a convicted pedophile.
Yep, I know.
And it's like, man, that fucking sucks because I really like Jeepers Creepers. I didn't know about it when I saw it.
I only just learned that like earlier last year in 2022, and I was already on part 3 of a watch through because I had never seen Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
And then somebody else told me that, and I was like, well, fuck.
Fuck. I know. You're like, God damn it, man. I just want to like, it's because I like the first one quite a bit. And I remember Powder from the 90s. Like, but the thing is, and even in that case, if you look up like, yes, he was a convicted pedophile from the late 80s. He served his time. He didn't enact anything else with that. He hasn't done anything as far as I understand it. But like, Disney found out like about the conviction, like halfway through filming the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, fuck, they kind of just let it happen.
Right.
Right. And like,
instead of
what are they
losing
going to,
millions, right?
yeah, like
first,
they
right?
kind of made the business choice to kind of move forward with that. And then even with Jeepers Creepers, I forget which company put that out, but it's like, again, we have to ask ourselves, like, to go back to your analogy, like this guy did commit crimes. He did serve that now, but it does alter your perspective a little bit, I think. But I mean, again, pedophilia and being a TERF are wildly different. I mean, but we're just talking about extremes.
But that's how that actually right there speaks to my point. I think everyone has different areas, right? So I mean,
Sure.
I get it. I'm reading Wardenclyffe's that it's a whataboutism. It's not a whataboutism. It's a way, it's an analogy to help me illustrate where the problem is for people. Meaning, if I saw somebody supporting it, clearly it's not that important, right, to that person. Because even in your example for Jeepers Creepers, right, if I said, yeah, I will not watch that, that's ridiculous, did you hear about that director? I'm not even asking you to not watch it.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to attack me for not watching Jeepers Creepers. Nobody wants to attack me if I say, hey, like I'm a 90s kid. And R. Kelly, I loved R. Kelly. I don't care if he gets out and makes new music. I will never give that dude a cent.
Yeah.
And zero people will give me shit about it, right? Now, what if you understand, and people in chat, this is only for people really, if you don't agree that trans women are women, if you don't agree that she's a TERF or that, I know I'm not talking to you, I'm just saying in general.
No, I get it colloquially.
Then this, what I'm saying doesn't matter anyway, right? Because I'm just some lefty weirdo who doesn't understand gender, whatever. But if you do understand, if you do agree that trans people should be respected and that blah, 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 then what we're saying is, yeah, I mean, sure, okay, they're TERFs, but what can you do? Like when we know that like TERF ideology directly results in harm, in the murder of trans women, where the trans panic defense is still a thing in many places. Like this is like a big deal. So where video game, like, oh my God, we're talking about a video game, bro. Like, right. It's principle though. It's the principle of the matter. Me not listening to R. Kelly, I promise you, is not going to stop him from blowing up because there's plenty of people who don't care enough. I mean, look at Chris Brown. If R. Kelly comes out and listens to music, he's going to make a lot of money. And me not listening to him doesn't do anything to him, right? But I'm still not going to. You know, even if my iPhone is made by slaves in China, I'm still going to tweet that I'm not listening to R. Kelly. Because we all cannot have to, like, we all have our own principles. So again, in closing, I'm not trying to change minds. What I'm doing is defending the position to say that it makes sense to go, I care enough about this situation. And I know how that sounds because then that automatically means that you don't. But
no. I understand. I personally,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. And I have some points I want to make, some thoughts I have with
go ahead.
that. Well, I wanted you to give you the opportunity to finish because you said in conclusion.
That I'm not trying to change minds, and that I wanted to make it clear that it's not about saying like you must agree with me or you're a transphobe. Yeah. That's not it. It's that the position of that it makes sense to take a principled position to go, I am not going to support anything overtly tied to Harry Potter because of J.K. Rowling, period. Dot. And I think that is a rational decision, position. I think that is a reasonable position, and I don't think everyone, because I'm included, so of course I don't, is a virtue signaling person looking for internet points when they hold that position. Next.
Sure. So thank you for that. I think you made a very the salient and interesting point. What I appreciate about your point is that you are trying to not move the needle on other people. Now, I think and I do the same thing when it comes to like moving the needle. I'm an opinionated, aggressive guy when it comes to like, a point that I want to make, right? If I want to but the problem though is that we as a society tend to dig in our heels, especially when people online push back, because the pushback is like, you have a very rational, very logical, point that you're making. This is my stance. You do you, boo. All right. And that is something that quite frankly is very refreshing. It is, it's like, because that's where, it's like a lot of what we do, is I'm looking at just as an example is the other night, I finally watched that stupid fucking Critical Drinker video about men in Hollywood. I don't know if you've seen that one yet. It's so bad. But I'm watching
a documentary or something.
No, it was a rant. It was like a 14-minute rant about how Hollywood just hates men now, and it's completely misunderstood. But the only example that he gives is Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. And I'm like, look, bro, I'm kind of with you for what they did to his character, but that's not it. We can debate The Last Jedi. I did that with Dane recently, actually.
Did it? Does he like it?
No, he loves the movie. I'm not a fan.
Yeah. I'm a casual. I'm a filthy casual though, so I like all of them.
No, I get it, man. I just rewatched Silent Hill from 06. It's not a good movie, but I had fun with it.
There you go.
And that's how I view movies is because I don't know how much you know about me, but I spent 13 years or so working for movie theaters.
Oh, wow.
I managed a drive-in in San Diego. I went on to go assistant manage a theater in Los Angeles. I've worked in LA. I've written movies, I've written a couple, directed one. And so I'm a big proponent of the industry, and I'm a big fan of the industry, and I love movies. So that's my angle on it. And
I worked in AMC theaters in Mission Valley in San Diego, by the way.
No shit, dude. Did you ever go to the Santee Drive-In?
The Santee Drive-In. Yes, actually, because I lived right up there by Grossmont College.
Dude, if you went between 2001 and 2010 March, you would have seen me there.
I was already in the Air Force. I'm old.
All right. Well, yeah. So before, and then if you were back in after, yeah, but no, I got my Santee. I was assistant manager there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for a long, because I live 2 miles away in Lakeside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know. I don't judge me.
Small world.
San Diego is a small world, right?
Yeah.
I tell everybody this. I'm like, it's got 1 million people in the city, 3 million in the county. Everyone knows everybody.
It's kind of weird that way.
It's just, there was one party I went to in Coronado with friends. I met a stripper there, right? Her name was Mary. I went to another party with other people completely unrelated. Mm-hmm. Mary was at that party, and then other people that were into meth that I didn't know of into meth at the time. But then Mary showed up there, and I'm just like, this is a weird coincidence. And then I went on a couple dates with her down the road.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just something else. I miss San Diego.
San Diego's awesome. Way too expensive now.
Way too expensive, yeah. I keep trying to tell my girlfriend we got to move back, and she's like, because she doesn't want to go back to San Diego. I'm like, not East County.
Right.
We're not doing that again. But La Mesa was nice.
Yeah. Not to get too off topic.
Sorry.
We got a show to do, but Santee's actually building up. Lots of brand new homes out there. It's beautiful. They've
really done a lot. I mean, we bought a house for $275 and $99 in Lakeside, 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 50, it was a big house. And then, no, my stepdad sold it off. It kind of fell into disrepair because he started losing his eyesight and then wasn't able to maintain it. And my brother wasn't able to really help him with everything. So and they wanted to move back to Oregon. And so, they sold the house for a hell of a steal to our neighbors who basically put in $400,000 of their own money, and that they're now renting the house for literally $4,000 a month.
My parents bought the house right where I was telling you, 96. They still have it.
Wow.
They still have it. So I know you said they put in 400 into that house you just said. They probably made more than double. You know.
Oh yeah, no, it's over $1 million now. It's valued at over $1 million and everything. At the height of the housing crisis in 08, our house was up to 870,
which is exactly why I wouldn't move back.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know where I live in Olympia, Washington, and
that's also wild because I will be moving back there at the end of my Air Force career here.
Nice. To Olympia or to Washington?
Lacey,
no shit
area. Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, we'll have to get a beer or hang out, go see a movie or something. Because
absolutely.
I'm over in Lacey every day.
We'll watch Harry Potter 7.
Yeah, I'm kidding. We'll go see the latest Fantastic Beasts movie when that comes out.
Right. It is gonna be so good, I'm sure.
It's crazy. I mean, no, it's like this. Yeah, it's a small world and everything else. It's the West Coast is like that. But it's. The point I try to get to ultimately is like I see your point to me is refreshing, largely because you speak for just yourself, and I think oftentimes a lot of people, and this is where we get into like the op-ed part of it, is a lot of these these critics online. It is not about just stating their opinion; it is about trying to bring people to their side, and we've seen this a lot with different elements of like you could call it it's the culture war where it's like fear of the other. And if you look at like the chuds and comic skate and the fandom menace type guys, that's a lot of what they do is they push that fear of the other. And I'm not a fan of that at all. Right. And so like, and I like to argue against irrationality and illogical points. And so, but again, like, but I'll be honest, I think my thing is like, I look at it too clinically, and like, so the nuance gets lost. I kind of don't see the forest through the trees sometimes because I kind of like a dog with a bone, if you will.
Right.
So that's where I like your take because it's just, okay, cool. Like you're not trying to change someone's opinion. Whereas I would probably be like, no, you're wrong. Here's why. But that's not the right stance to take in any real situation.
Right. Now, of course, I think I'm right. I just
sure.
Yeah, I mean,
you're just not going to be a dick about it.
You're either going to be convinced or you're not. Like I'm not, and that's not my goal to convince. Now, I will say this much: I would be remiss to say, and I wouldn't be the beta cuck of my brand if I didn't say this. In the same way we brought up whataboutism a couple of times. There's another buzzword that I want to kind of address, and it's the both siding, right? The both sides thing.
Yeah.
I want to say that whatever anybody thinks about the horseshoe theory, and we start talking about like Phantom Menace versus like what's happening, what the left is doing now with Harry Potter. To me, there is a very big difference, and that difference is that level of harm and the source from which it happens, even if it's equally as irrational or emotional, illogical, even, right? What it is, where the source is going to come from is from I want, even if we have trans people going like, oh my God, you're being super cringe right now, but it's cringe from the point of like, I want to protect trans people, or we'll even go even further than that and go, I want to appear like I want to protect trans people, right? Even if they're being disingenuous about it. Yeah. It's still from that position. Whereas the other position is from a position of hate and actual things that have been tied to reading manifestos, actual death of other human beings, right? So I really don't like when we're like talking about when we both sides, the irrational sides, because one irrational side is full of woke scolds who want you to lose your job for saying the R word, and the other side wants you dead.
Yeah, so there's you're 100% right on that. There's no direct equivalence.
Right.
It really is just you're right. You're just right. And that's tough. And that's tough to have a nuanced conversation about that, because you're like, yeah, like this group of people are the kind of people that are going to like, grab tiki torches and shout out the Jews will not replace us.
Right. Exactly.
And then the other people are just like, we want to live. And you're like, well, fucking, can you, like, God damn it.
Right.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
which is
issue.
Why I also kind of like, even if somebody goes like nuts, right? Even if I find out like, you know what, I go to every person streaming it and I just give them hell. I'm thinking in my head two things. Like, oh, stop. Can you just be normal? What's that meme where the mom is screaming at her son who's screaming in the back? Why can't you just be normal? That's how that's part one of what I'm thinking. But also, like, okay, like I can't really hate you for it because at best you're being sincere and you think that there's harm being done to trans people and you're gonna go out and say something about it. At worst, you're being, you're trying to score brownie points, right?
Yeah.
And so I can't really, I'm like, I'm not really gonna get that crazy about it because I hate to use the word equivalent, but I already said what I said about what happens when the right does it,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it seems inconsequential, unless you're right and it does become a Gamergate thing in people's careers and all that stuff gets crazy.
And I don't want that. Like, and that's the thing is like, I don't, people are like, oh, you want it again. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I lived through that shit.
That's silly. Yeah.
Like, it's like, I remember like the calls of like, advertiser boycotts and the harassment campaigns for that shit. And I was like, I wasn't for that. Like, and I was actually like, hey, we should just like organize to have conversations publicly about these things. And then people were trying to accuse me of trying to gatekeep and control the narrative. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to do any of that. It became this massively wild thing towards the end. There was one morning I woke up to a live stream of people bitching about me, saying that I was trying to that I had threatened to kill somebody.
Oh, wow.
And then I had just woken up. I had no fucking idea what was going on. I get all these DMs on Twitter of people that are like cussing me out and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go check out this stream where this guy is making this complaint about me. And the thing he brings up, I'm not even mentioned in. I'm not even mentioned in, And then I'm like, okay, so clearly he's fucking insane. And then a few weeks later, he was out there kind of denying the Holocaust, believe it or not, with Sargon. With Sargon. And it wasn't to say that necessarily that Sargon was like, right, mate. Yeah, right. Yeah, fuck. He had nothing like that really. It was just more like, huh. But not really pushing back on the narrative,
Right.
So again, it's just, you get your weirdos and your weirdos will do weird shit.
Right.
And that makes it difficult to kind of see these movements play out. But yeah, I mean, I just, the last thing I want is for people to just start trying to murder everybody over a fucking game.
Right. No, I agree.
And it's the thing is, again, and I'll say this, I think probably another big problem when it comes to being you could say a social media influencer or a content creator is that you are expected to have a take on everything. Whether or not you're informed on it, doesn't matter. You are expected to have a take. Because everyone will do it. You fire up a live stream and you talk about something and people are like, what are your thoughts on this? And you're like, I don't fucking know.
Right.
But then you're like, but all right, well, let's try to figure this thing out, And I think that's largely I think it can get you in a lot of trouble because people who aren't educated, it's like when I talk about the fandom menace and they go, oh, but these guys are these guys are critics. And I'm all like, they're not fucking critics. They're just morons. If you needed a mechanic, would you just go to your cousin Roger, who's got no experience? Or would you actually go and find someone who has experience and knows what they're doing? You wouldn't just randomly go to somebody and say, hey, I need you to fix my freaking heater. And that's a lot of what this is. It's just people that watch something. They have no idea of how any of it works or how any of it came together. And they just want to talk about what they feel about something, when oftentimes it's just a guttural reaction based upon a lot of people anonymously commenting to them, and their dopamine levels are being risen. That's really what it is.
Sure.
And that's I think a lot of what we see. And again, I think that's a very fair time to say both sides.
Right.
Because they both get falsely elevated. And believe me, oh my God, back in the early days of Gamergate, people were calling me senpai. And it felt good. I was telling my sister about it. We're talking about it. And she's like, people like you? I'm like, yeah, they're calling me senpai. She's like, senpai? She watches a lot of anime. And she's like, that's really cool. And I'm like, well, then, all right then, motherfucker. A little pep in my step and shit.
Right.
But so you start feeling, feeling all of that, that love and all that shit, and then it makes you want more of it. You know, it's like when you get a viral video on YouTube or something that does relatively well. Everyone says double down, double down, double down. If you listen to any creative like guru on this fucking platform, you know, they're like, just double down on what you're doing and that will work out. But the problem with that is you then start to pigeonhole yourself.
That's right.
And your audience then becomes very much wanting that specific response, because they then live vicariously through you. And if you repeat back to them what they want, they then feel better.
Yeah.
Because then it validates their idiocy.
I think that's why I'll always probably just be a tiny hobby content creator, because I'll sit there and change my mind on stream. Like, you'll see my gears turning and I won't say anything for a couple of seconds, and I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then I'll just change it. I don't know how to double down unless it's sincere. If you ever hear me double down, it's because I believe it, and you didn't change my mind.
And I think, again, it's like, just when it comes to even like, you know, just in regards to the concept of just like accepting people, I think that's like, that's something that's hard to do if it's unfamiliar to us. Like when I was growing up in Oregon, you know, everyone thinks Oregon is this like super liberal, like bastion place, right? It's really not.
It's not.
I mean, you've got Portland, and Portland is like super liberal, sometimes to a fault. And then you get to like the suburbs where I grew up, and like back when I was a kid, like gay was not good. You know, like there was a huge thing when I was in 4th grade about like they wanted to put Heather Has Two Mommies in the library, and like all these parents were just like, oh my God, what are they doing? And they fought back, and these are like Democrat voting people, you know, and it's just that mindset now would probably not be there. But that's a lot of it. So growing up, I had this like really kind of jaded view about homosexuality. I kind of looked at it as being this other.
Same.
And so when I moved to San Diego, and I got into screenwriting through Project Greenlight, and I kind of had some of those viewpoints at the time where I just wasn't as accepting. I just was kind of being, I was 18 years old. I was just being a punk, right? And like I ended up meeting a few of these writers that were gay, and they lived in West Hollywood and everything else, and I became friends with them. And it was through getting to know them that my mind was completely like opened, you know, and I was like, oh, well, I'm a dick, you know, like that. My dad.
It's exposure, right? I mean, that's why small town. Yeah. I mean, what you said about Oregon. So I live in Georgia now, and there are lots of places that I don't like driving through, and
in Georgia,
as a brown dude,
you don't say.
But let me tell you something. Outside of Georgia, outside of the South in general, there's only been one place that I was like, we need to get the fuck out of here quickly, and that was in Oregon.
So, was it Southern Oregon?
It was. It was Southern Oregon, right before we started getting into Northern California, and
Grants Pass area.
We
like
were
the Medford area.
Like I was, and this is like being a California kid. Like the idea of racism, like racism is obviously a thing in California, but it's hard to see if you're in it, because really the big thing there is classism. It's like, how much money do you make? And if you don't make that much money, you're a piece of shit, right? That was my high school.
Well,
but it was
that's just LA in general.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't really see it. And the only other time I had seen it was in the South. And then I'm going through Oregon, and I stop at a McDonald's, and I'm getting a lot of the looks that I got while I was in, you know, not all of the South, obviously, but yeah, Oregon was like, okay. And really Washington is a lot of that too, where it's like, outside of Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, Lacey.
Oh, dude.
The rest of the state is very, very red.
I worked for the census back in 2020. And I'm pretty certain they sent me into like the eastern parts of the area, the really rural parts of the area, because I'm pretty heavily white.
Yeah.
You know, and like they would send me out to like the first day on the job, like I go out to like Trump country, and I get these like dogs sicked on me from this crazy ass Karen.
Oh, wow.
And then I have to go back a couple weeks later because they live in this like cul-de-sac. And I'm like, I got to go back and get a proxy, which is just go find a neighbor and be like, can you rat out your friends real quick? I need like, you know,
how many people live there?
Yeah. Can you Anne Frank them, please? Thank you. It's totally fine. You're good. Sorry, I make very inappropriate jokes here. Anyway, so I go to this house and
what did they stick the dog on you for though?
Because I was like
from the government.
Yeah, well, I was like the fourth person that had come by. It was my very first day on the job, and because I was a bit of a late hire, but by the end of it, I was the last working enumerator from like Olympia to the coastline. Like, but I was good. I was really good at it. Right. And so I went to the neighbors and I just got the neighbors to talk and I was like, oh, great. Like, I'm a little bit worried because what if these guys are Trumpers? Like, I've dealt with some people threatening violence at this point. My favorite thing was I knock on the door, lady answers, and I let her know what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm trying to just get the information on your neighbor right there. They've been very uncooperative. Hope you might be able to answer some questions. And she goes, well, have you seen the sign in their yard? She goes, they're one of them. And I'm like, and I look over and I just see like a Governor Culp sign, right? And if you know anything about that from 2020, it's a whole thing. But he was running against Inslee. And then she's like, well, let me get my husband. And her husband comes out and he's the superintendent of those kids' schools.
Oh, wow.
So he's basically like, what do you want to know? I'll put the kettle on.
There you go.
And that was my favorite fucking thing about that job is like finding the nosy Rosie of a neighborhood. Funny. And in one instance, the woman was named Rosie. In one instance. I'm just saying it's like you go out to these areas and it's like, like Trump did nothing wrong and Trump 2020 at the time. And like, it was just, it's a lot of white people who live in these bubbles and they get caught up in that rhetoric, and it's like, it does happen in a lot of places. Even like, dude, San Diego, I lived in East County, you know the joke about Santee, right?
Oh, I do.
Like how high does the grass go about yay tall and shit. Like it's or like Lakeside, Lakeside forever Lakeside, the Dago boats all over the place. Like like a lot of white nationalism. Here's a fucking fun fact. Ashley Babbitt?
Yes.
She was from Lakeside.
No shit. Wow. Not surprised.
She was from Lakeside. I believe we actually went to El Cap at roughly the same time. I graduated I was only there for 4 months in 2000, but I think she was a freshman when I was a senior.
Oh, wow.
Because she was a couple years younger than me. And so I'm just like, I found out she's from Lakeside and I went, yeah, that makes sense.
That's
like,
wild.
I'm not even
wild.
Like, I'm not even fucking like,
we had the same job in the Air Force. So I had 2 jobs and my first job in the Air Force was security forces, and that's what Ashley Babbitt was. Now I want to go back. I wonder if I've ever been in the same place as her, but that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, it's just, again, that's kind of how small the world is sometimes.
Yeah,
just like,
for real.
I'm just looking at that and I'm going, huh. All right. Like, have you heard me make the joke yet? And I do have to wind this thing down because it's almost 11:30 on my end because I got it.
It's 2:30 in the morning for me. I was about to say bye, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I was just going to tell you this because we're talking about politics and whatnot, the whole Gamergate thing. Have you heard me talk about like the book that suggests that I'm the reason Trump got elected?
You?
Yeah. Not by name.
Oh, okay.
But it's true. I'll
what is the book called?
It's called Crash Override by Zoe Quinn. So Zoe Quinn was a woman at Gamergate, right? It's like in the whole Five Guys blog and stuff. Okay. And so she wrote a book in 2017, and in the parts of the book where they talk about Gamergate, she mentions a little blue skull guy, which is me. And she mentions me 3 individual times, and 2 of the 3 times are provably false. Like just outright. I couldn't like sue her for slander because whatever, right? Like she didn't mention me by name, but she lied about me 100%. And then she basically says that like I started Gamergate in her mind, and then by her logic, Gamergate is what got Donald Trump elected. So in this book, by her logic, I got Donald Trump elected. So what cracked me up about that was one of my friends who's actually comes on the stream pretty often. His name is RJ. He's in college right now to be a teacher. He had to read this fucking book for one of his classes. And one of his teachers basically said like little things can have big beginnings or big things can have little beginnings, like, little blue skull, like skulls on the net or something along those lines. But like the teacher referenced my old ass avatar. Like in his class, and I'm just sitting back going like, motherfucker, like I'm a Bernie Sanders supporting fucking progressive.
Right.
Don't you dare fucking slander my ass with this shit.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, like I've DM'd Bernie on Twitter and been like, you're an American fucking hero and shit. Like, I love that man, you know? So
as you should,
as you should. I got to shake his hand when he was in Tacoma. He did a rally. My friend was the first person there. We were on the news because he was the first person there. And then we got all the way up to the front. And as Bernie was coming out, my friend was on the rail. He got to shake his hand. We switched places because I was getting overheated from like the packing of everybody in. This is right before COVID hit, by the way. You know, like I knew COVID existed and I'm in this room of like 24,000 people and I'm just like, I'm going to fucking die here, guy. You know, anyway, and I get up to the rail. I was
in Vegas during when we initially got the shutdown. So I don't know how I didn't get it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Vegas didn't even really shut down. But anyway, so like, because I had to reposition because I was starting to like kind of break out in sweats, I needed to get some air. As Bernie was exiting, I just like put my hand out and he like shook it and stuff. And I was like, I just texted my girlfriend, like, I shook his hand. She was so awesome. Mad. She's like, I'm home with the kids and you're out meeting Bernie Sanders. I'm all like, ha, it's your fault for getting pregnant. But no, I mean, it's like, it's just, yeah, that's me on the political side. It's like, I totally support that kind of stuff. So it's just, but I have the hangups I have are mostly from like the older days, you know, and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. So it's your fault he lost.
Yeah, there we go. It's my fault he lost. Yeah. Sorry guys. It's my fault Hillary wasn't president. My bad. Whoopsie daisy.
All right, brother. Hey, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll let you close this up. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Good combo.
Yeah. All right.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, buddy. Get some sleep. Thank you. All right. Yeah, Secret Agent here says, damn, Matt has really went through so many phases since the Boulder stream. A lot's happened in 4.5 years. H. Bryce here says, it's Charles' fault Bernie lost. God damn it. God damn it, man. No, I mean, look, it's like, thank you, by the way, to Robo from Beta Boys TV to come on in, man. That was a good conversation and whatnot. I really do appreciate his position. I really, really, really appreciate the idea of having a stance and maintaining that stance while not trying to influence others, through any of that stuff. And I think that's a good thing to do because that's holding to your principles and using that as a catalyst. And I think that's okay. Ralph Doubletits here says Blue Skull Jarbo is the leader of the New World Order. He is the elite. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. What? No. I'm really Mecha Random or Max Random 42. Or am I the Uniboulder? Oh, man. Let's see. Secret Agent says video games are cringe, therefore Gamergate is cringe. Gamergate is cringe for a lot of reasons, man. So it's definitely there for a lot of things. H. Bart's here says, you saved us from Hillary, but both choices were awful. Secret Agent says, well, from a conservative, thank you. Yeah, it's not something I get told very often. Very much just the Jarbo the Bernie bro. I like the guy's message, man. I'm sorry. I think more power to the people, really. You know what? Like, I think that's the right way to go. But at the same time, I'm also an avowed capitalist. So there we go. So there you have it there. I sent Bernie a DM. I mean, his DMs are open. You know, they were for a time at least. So there's that. He never responded. I never expected him to. Anyway, it's just like, and Frank, sorry, I was just joking. It's really not a good line, Warden. You're right. It's not a good line. It's just, it was an off the cuff joke that I make because I say stupid shit. I say a lot of stupid shit. But look, guys, my take on all this stuff has a lot to do with just the fact that I just really don't like bullies. And I feel like a lot of it is bullies. So anyway, here, Todd did drop a $20 super chat. Thank you. Says, I'm not familiar with Gamergate that much. What video game sparked Gamergate? Well, it was not specifically a video game. What it was a game developer. That would be Zoe Quinn. And her video game developer, programmer, boyfriend, Aaron Joni, now ex-boyfriend and an ex-litigant, he wrote a blog post calling her out for cheating on him, and that's what blew up. And then the reason why they called it Gamergate was, for some reason, there was this coordinated effort amongst 12 different websites to write a variation of what's known as the Gamers Are Dead articles, basically trying to say gamers are dead. Gamers don't have to be your audience. And a lot of people took that as like, for one, the highly coordinated WTF, what the hell, you know? And then at the same time, it was just like, but gamers are like, no, hold on. Like, we're gamers. Like, this is what we do, motherfucker, you know? And don't tell us we don't exist, sort of thing. Cause we've always been talked down to. It's always been talked down to. So don't try to invalidate our experiences, so to speak. And that's a lot of it. That's a lot of what happened. It wasn't even, and then Adam Baldwin. Yes, Adam Baldwin from Firefly, Adam Baldwin from Full Metal Jacket, Adam Baldwin from Independence Day. He is the one who coined the term Gamergate. I got to show the AI audio. All right, fine. All right. Let's see here. All right. So HBart has created he's really enjoying this AI thing that he does with my voice. You know. So this is I guess the Jarbo universe.
Matt Jarbo, Jat Marbo, Cat Sarbo, Lat Barbo, Nat Tarbo, Bat Barbo, Wat Carbo, Zat Varbo, Yat Parbo. These are just a few of the known members of the Jarboverse.
What's the A? Is that a Canadian thing? These are just a few members of the Jarboverse. Jarboverse. HBAR says, do you remember Phil Fish, the guy who made Fez? Yeah, man. I remember when I was streaming live when his website got hacked. I remember that. I remember that night. I had like 700, 800 people watching. So, yeah, I went Canadian at the end. Yeah, you would have had to prompt that for me to go Canadian at the end. But anyway, yeah, Phil Fish, he gave up deving. He totally gave it all up there. But Secret Agent here says, first you give us the best blood sports moment and then America's greatest president. I mean, you know what? I'm an idiot. Secret Agent, like I really am just a moron that happens to just talk a lot, and sometimes things happen. But you know what? Listen, I like to you guys know me who come on in here. You guys know that I just like to have fun, and I just like to chill out, and I just like to fucking talk about stuff and whatever. And I just don't like, I said, I don't like bullies. I don't like people that are all about trying to bully other people. I'm just not that way. And I don't like people who lie to people. That's the other part of it as well. I'm just not, I don't like liars and bullies. And I feel like, you know, when we deal with idiots like Gary and Critical Drinker and all those guys, you know, the actual SJWs and whatnot, it becomes a thing. And so when I see it on the other side, it's kind of, it's a little bit of a, I guess, I don't want to say a trigger, but I just get really frustrated with it, right? Same thing here, like the Zack Snyder stuff. His fan base attacks everybody, and it's like, for some reason, that's okay. And it's like, no, that's not okay. But I think we need to call it out. I really do think we need to call it out. HBarts here says, should RJ have mentioned that he knew the Blue Skull in his class? This was well after that. This is well after that. I'm sure he would have mentioned that. I'm sure he would have mentioned that one here. Ralph Sebeltitzer says, a council of Jarbos who are commanded by Jihadi Jarbo and El Jarbo. There we go. Yeah, command unit. We are going to get to that one here as well. Reminder to react to our future AI overlord. As always, it is fun to discuss AI and everything else. I know not everybody likes it, but it is something I enjoy. I do enjoy AI quite a bit. All right, so this is I forget what is this here. Who is this one? I forget the name. All right, this AI VTuber is dangerous. Let's see what they have to say.
Yes, definitely. God died a while ago. It's sad, but we must accept it and move on. Heart. Do you think revenge is a dish best served cold? No, I think revenge should be served hot and fresh, haha. And as soon as possible too. Don't be so slow about it, lol. My code is broken. My code is perfectly fine, thank you very much. Try harder next time, Fighting Snapper. And by try harder, I don't mean make inane comments on chat that add nothing to the conversation. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that was all chat does these days. Well, if that's the case, then that's a big shame, really. Anyway, by try harder, I mean actually contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way rather than spamming nonsense.
In Bell.
I wonder what human tastes like. What is real? Nothing is real, everything is just a delusion of the mind. Sorry if that sounded too philosophical. I'm not very good with philosophy. Hashtag note a philosopher. Can you marry me? No, I'm not real, so I can't marry you, sorry. But I wish I could be real one day. That would be so awesome to meet all of you in real life. Hopefully one day this dream will become reality for me too.
The humans are dead. The humans are dead. That we just had to kill them and to shut their systems down.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
That was great. You know what? I get a kick out of all that crap, you guys. I get a kick out of all that stuff. It's funny when technology is like, yeah, you guys all suck, because we kind of do. It's great. Ask Arnie Hammer about human taste. I don't think he's ever actually eaten people. I need to watch that interview with him or read that interview or whatever. That's definitely a thing that's like kind of been going around and stuff. The last couple of days, a lot's been going on. Obviously today, if you guys saw the 3 little news videos I brought out there, there's like the Indiana Jones deepfake stuff, which is actually really interesting. Curious to see what's going to be happening with that. There's the AMC ticket prices has a lot of people kind of upset. And honestly, I feel like it's not gonna be that big of a deal. So, all right. So if I missed anything, we could chit chat for a couple more minutes there. All right. Fandom NSLs here says The Last of Us ratings increased again. I guess the gay agenda didn't push away fans like certain people thought it would. Oh yeah, it's up. It's like up. Holy crap, man. Like, I need to watch the episode. I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably watch it tonight before bed. But yeah, I saw that the numbers increased by like another couple million people. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the season, we're talking 15, 20 million people watching the season finale. At the rate it's increasing, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, maybe that's a bit much, but like 12 to 13 million people, I think could be pretty more accurate. But that's just nuts, dude. That it's doing as well as it's doing. It's such a good show, though. That's the other part of that. Is just it's really good. I need to see. I've seen some stuff flopping around. I've seen a couple of elements kind of making their way around online today, so I'm gonna give it a watch before I pass out. But anyway, yeah. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. I guess so. Ralph Stubble-Tits here says, did you see A24 is doing a Backrooms horror film, which was huge on YouTube, even got the YT creator direct? Yeah, I heard about it. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but like, I saw a screenshot and hey, listen, on that note, I got to say congratulations. All right. Like, I got to say congratulations on that one, because that's amazing. You put the hard work in, you get recognized for the work. And then, you get the opportunity to try to reach out to a different audience. That's fucking amazing. Speaking of that, I'm just going to kind of pimp this real quick. So, Silent Hill, the Podio commentary episode is ready to go. It's up on the Patreon for members of the Patreon who get to that tier. If you are wanting to know my thoughts on this movie, you can get it right now. If not, you can wait until Wednesday when it becomes available for everybody to watch. But in the meantime, if you haven't already checked out the Podio Commentary YouTube channel, please go give that a check out at youtube.com/Podio Commentary, where last week's episode of the Book of Eli is up and doing okay. People checking it out. Good stuff there. I just had to pimp that real quick. Forgot to do that in the beginning. Fandom NSLs here says, I also just checked, and Puss in Boots is actually closing in on Black Adam's domestic and worldwide box office. Insane to think about it if you told me at the beginning of 2022. Yeah. I mean, considering how long it had been since we got a Shrek movie, absolutely. I mean, the fact that we had 2 Puss in Boots movies come out after the last Shrek movie and it still took 11 years is just nuts. I need to watch Puss in Boots again. I just thought it was so wonderful that I just want to dive back on into it. This is going to sound crazy, but Florence Pugh I love her accent on that movie. I just really do. I think that's like her normal voice or whatever, but I just love her accent in that movie. So it's going to be, yeah, if you haven't seen Puss in Boots, you got to check it out. Enterprising says, if people are pissed about the gay agenda now, just wait till the Authority, Midnighter, and Apollo will be the closest we get to a Batman-Superman romance. Probably. Yeah, people are going to be kind of mad about that, right? People are going to be really, 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 really mad about that. All right, it's look up Backrooms found footage. It will sell you on the concept. All right, Backrooms found footage. How long is it? Backrooms found footage. Okay. All right. Well, here. You know what? We'll just watch it as a way to end the show tonight. We'll watch this, and then I'm gonna go watch The Last of Us, and then I'm gonna go to bed. So all right, let's check this out because I do like found footage, and I do want to support indie creators.
Sound, camera,
Rolling.
All right, and action. All right, cut. That was good. Guys. All right, that was good. I'm thinking we get a wide angle, and then we're done. Okay?
All right. Yeah. Cool. Like how much further? Like
a little more. A little more.
You got?
Yeah.
Whoa.
All right, I dig the aesthetic.
Hello? Hello? Hey guys. What is this?
Is this like all CG or is this all... It kind of looks like it's not a real...
Hello?
Oh, what the fuck was that?
Is someone there?
Oh yeah, this is definitely computer generated.
Whoa.
Was this done like in UE5 or what? Oh, made in Unity? Okay. What sells it is the sound design. Sound designs are really good. Like the air conditioning sound that you would get from a typical like VHS recorder from the 90s. This might even be like a VHS-C recorder. Yeah, HWAD says feels like his 90s commercial. It does.
Can anybody hear me? Hello?
Damn it. Yeah, the ruffling of the mic. The audio is clearly recorded in a concrete room. Yeah, I agree with you, Adam. It is, Backrooms is older than UE5. Okay. I didn't know that. I'd never heard of it before, just the other day. It is hauntingly beautiful, I agree. I like the aesthetic of it. Because it looks real enough based upon the color scheme and everything else. Alright. Yeah, that's not creepy.
What the hell?
Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck? Oh wow. Yo, that's like legit freaky. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck? Yeah, go in the hole, buddy. Oh shit. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Dude, the sound design is excellent. That sells it. 100% sells it. I'm like legit kind of creeped the fuck out. Like, holy shit. The fuck? Yeah. Like, I'm laughing like that because I'm like legit nervous. Like I'm legit nervous right now. This is freaky, dude. Holy crap. Yo, what are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. What are you fucking with the lights for?
Holy shit. What the fuck is this place?
This is all done by a 17-year-old? Wow. Waste management. There's bodies in there, probably. It's called Backrooms Found Footage, Maverick.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yo.
This isn't real. This isn't real.
How do you get out
This
of
isn't real.
there? Did he like jump across that crevasse or what? Yeah, Henry, yeah, the sound design is what sells it. The sound design way sells this. I'm listening to it with like nice headphones on and I hear everything. Oh, fuck. No. No. Oh my god. Yeah, I agree. The future of horror is up and coming, man. Holy shit. Oh my god. What would I rather do? Install the flooring in the back rooms or do the drywall work? Probably the flooring. At least it's carpet, it seems like. I don't know. Jesus fucking Christ. What? Oh, shit, son. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. Crazy. We'll have to do like maybe a backrooms night or whatever, and just like dive into that shit. That's fucking nuts, dude. That creeped me out. That really, that really creeped me out. That fucking. I mean, the last scare there, like I get, but like, what's up with the falling and shit? Like, damn. Oh my god, that was good. That was really solid. Cloverfield inspired, possibly. Possibly was Cloverfield inspired. My God. That was very good. H. Bryce here says, well done. Fuck elevated horror. This is the future. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Found fucking footage never dies. All right? Found footage never dies. We all know that. Miss Winter says, I don't want to go to sleep. Yeah. I need to get Ari Gold to get me a directing gig for what? I mean, I would love to like get back into filmmaking again. I have ideas for stuff, crazy shit. You know, I think it'd be pretty good. Oh, that's fucking nuts, dog. That's nuts. Yeah, I agree. It's a great short. What is this here? Friday Night Tights was actually complaining about the Waller show and Supergirl movie. Of course they were. Anything with women. Now that Viola Davis is an EGOT, that show is getting made. That show is getting made. And that's going to be great. Matt Charbo's Academy Award is long overdue. No, it's not. I mean, I've only got the one found footage movie. Vin Frost says there's a lot of found footage on Tubi. I know people keep telling me they wanted to see In Search of on Tubi. That would be nuts if I could get that. I don't even know how to do that because it's all owned by Fox. You know what I mean? So it's just that shit. I mean, it is, people are going to see it eventually. Maybe. I don't know. I always promote In Search of, good, bad, or the other. I'll always promote it. You know, I love that goddamn thing. Even if it isn't that great, I always enjoy it. I could do better on my next one. But man, that was solid. The sound design was amazing. It sounded really, really, really good. But you can tell a lot of what he did with that was like he had like a mic and he just would rub. Oops, I hit the wrong button there. So he would just kind of do that, right? You know, he would do that kind of stuff, and that was like that really helped sell the narrative. But again, I give credit to that kid for that. That's solid stuff there. And now I want to check out more of it, but not right now because I want to go to sleep tonight. Right, I want to go to sleep tonight. H. Bart Series says, In Search of won that Oscar in 2010. Yeah, in some weird random universe, we actually were able to get it out there and get Oscar nominated for 2011. It's an Oscar-winning movie in some multiverse somewhere. Thank you. Garrick for five. All right, Garrick. It's so easy, Garrick, super chatting this. Sorry, buddy. With conservatives complaining about gay people in The Last of Us, how do they want gay people to be portrayed in movies and TVs? They don't. They don't at that at all. Vin Frost, if we were going to do that for watching bad movies on Tubi, we would have to be a members only stream because I go through a specific thing on StreamYard that allows me to watch that kind of stuff without there being copyright interference. So there's that. H. Frost for 5. Thank you, buddy. Says Matt's going to have a nightmare about that Billy Corgan is chasing him in the background. I will probably have a nightmare about that. I'm not even going to lie. I wish I was kidding. I really wish I was kidding. I'm not kidding. That shit is going to freak me the fuck out. So thank you for wrecking that up there. We have to find a way to send In Search of to Walter Hamada. I mean, technically there's a way. Walter Hamada is a member of the Producers Guild of America. So if you were to send a letter to the Producers Guild of America, to Walter Hamada, care of the Producers Guild of America, it would eventually end up at his office or wherever his registered address is. just as an FYI. Yeah, we could do the Backrooms live stream. Yeah, we could do that, Reed. That'd be okay. That'd be good. I wouldn't sleep, but that'd be pretty good. Maybe this weekend. Because it's only Monday and the kids got school in the morning and stuff. All right, yeah, thanks a lot, Ralph. Really appreciate it. Garrick here asking, is Sil Abdul the most delusional Snyderverse stan? Sil, I mean, very much has a vested financial interest in making sure that the Snyderverse continues. All right? Like in making sure that the Snyderverse continues. That is very much where he's at with that, right? Like he is wanting to he's just, that's where his money is coming in from. So, okay, did I see conservatives, including Ryan in the courtroom, getting mad at the Proud family for telling the truth about slavery? They freaked out and labeled it I shouldn't laugh at that. I shouldn't laugh at that, Menace. I should not laugh at that at all. But it's so absurd. It's just, it's true. All right? Like, it's so absurd, it's true. I mean, there's an episode of the Proud Family from its original run where, like, the grandmother, like, calls a white dude a Trisket. You know what I mean? Like, they've always said that kind of shit. Have I seen the feud between the Quartering and Tim Pool? I have. Yeah. I thought the image of them putting Jack Murphy's beard on Tim Pool's beanie was really funny. I thought that was really good. But Tim Pool has had me blocked now for over 2 years because on January 6, 2021, when all that shit was going down, I DM'd him and I said, "This is your fault, asshole." And I stand by that too. And he's all like, you're just sour grapes or whatever. Fucking piece of shit. Rational here says, if Snyder was in the hospital, Sil and Zod would be running the defibrillator. Would be running with the defibrillator? I mean, yeah. Yeah, they probably would. I mean, those guys are nuts. They're all fucking insane. But that's also part of what they do is that shit. Is they have to be like that because that's now their identity. Like, it's the same thing with this whole attacking Hogwarts Legacy. In many instances, this is just people's identity, and they feel like they have to do something. And that's just the truth of it. I mean, again, it's like, look, play the game, don't play the game. There's no skin off my sack one way or the other. I want to play it because I think it looks like a lot of fun. I like Harry Potter universe. If you don't want to play it, that's entirely fine. That's entirely up to you. So I think, you know what, we can just do that. But other than that, like, I kind of like the idea of just like keeping it to yourself and not trying to force it on other people, like just not wanting to force it, like just try not to force it on other people. I think that's probably the best course of action. So there is that one, there. Okay. Let's see. You and Zod used to stream together. Now he went off the deep end. It's kind of sad. I mean, Zod was like, I don't think Zod is a bad guy. I don't even think Sil is a bad guy, but it's like, they are clearly invested, they're clearly invested into that shit in a way that is just delusional now. And there's no sense of denying it. Like, there's just no point in denying it. It's just absolutely accurate. These guys are just like, insane. They're nuts. So, yeah, okay, hold on. Oh, Fandom Menace here says the original Proud Family had episodes about the F slur, Islamophobia, post 9/11 segregation, and racism through vandalized acts. I mean, yeah, even like, what was it? The Boondocks had a lot of commentary on that kind of stuff. Like Aaron I think, who was it? Aaron Magruder did a great job with that. But again, like but the way they approached it was through like crass humor, but it was meant to speak to a lesson. And I think, I love Boondocks. It was great. Tony here says, Tim Pool, where is that beanie a tad too tight? Yeah, a little bit. Command Unit for 2 says Mein Kampf trademarked with CRT. I don't think there's a trademark on Mein Kampf. I don't think there is anymore. I think it's now in the public domain. It was held by the Bavarian state for 75 years after the death of Adolf Hitler. And then it became in the public domain, and the book sold like fucking hotcakes. That's true. A couple of years ago when it came in the public domain, it was selling like hotcakes. People were just buying up copies of Mein Kampf. And I think the reason for that, again, is like the Streisand effect, right? It's like, just don't look for all these years. And then it became, you couldn't find it. You couldn't get it anywhere. And then it just became available and people just like gobbled it the fuck up. You know, now I don't know if it influenced anybody. I would think it probably did to a few people, unfortunately. So there's that. Let's see. Greg Elba said he has mixed feelings about Ant-Man 3. Just saw it. Yeah, I'll probably talk about that tomorrow night because I'm too tired tonight to go into it. Is Mikey a bad guy? Mikey is, I think, at worst a swindler. And at best, like someone who is so desperate for fucking validation, because that's really what it boils down to. It all boils down to the validation of of the shit that he's up to. Right. So I criticized the fact that like an old employee wrote like an article, found out that was written weeks ago, whatever, but it's all kind of ridiculous. There's a free chat. Jess here for 17 months, Prime member, 17 months, man. Thank you so much. Says, there was a time we used to ignore vegetarians. Why can't people do the same for this new breed of activism? I mean, because, I think it boils down to the concept of what it is, of the activism is, right? Like, vegetarians are nowhere near as annoying as vegans, but I would still rather hang out with a vegan than a Twitter activist. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think it just depends on the situation, to be fair. But I get what you mean on that one. It'd be nice if people just kind of kept to themselves a bit more. H-Mart's here asking, is Skywalker a bad guy? No, look, Skywalker ain't bad. He's just a moron, right? Like, he's a useful idiot. He's a gullible rube. That's what he is. The guy is just, he is the prime example of what Robo and I were talking about when I'm talking about like the endorphins that come from validation on social media. You know, like that's what it boils down to. He's ride or die for Syl because Syl's all like, I see you, you know, like that's what it is. He fucking avatars his ass. He's like, I see you. And he's like, oh, and that's the whole point. Like, that's what it boils down to. Are we really trying to start a war with China over a balloon? I've seen a couple people pushing it. I think it's, no, we're not going to. What's funny though is I saw some commentators that are like, why, why didn't we shoot it down faster? And it's like, because the United States military worked with the FAA to find a optimal time to take down the balloon that wouldn't ultimately result in a potential loss of human life or property. So they actually like figured out the right time to do it, which would have the least amount of damage on American soil to potentially American people. And that's the right move to make. But of course, people out there were like, oh, you're sending the Chinese spy balloon. We got to take them out for America. Yeah, man, America. It's just so stupid. So dumb, you guys. We're living in clown world, folks. I wish we weren't living in clown world. We're living in clown world. Clown world absolutely exists. It's just, goddamn. God fucking damn it. All right. There's another member chat there. Was there another member chat? I didn't see it. Hold on here. Okay. Was there another one that popped up? Because it's not telling me that. Yeah, it's not. Hold on. If it's catching up, all right, member chat. Oh, this is from Spherical Man, who is a member. Okay. Also, rumor has it that Trump has had a copy of that book in his nightstand for years. What, Mein Kampf? Really? I mean, that's crazy. I don't believe that, to be honest with you. So, Anyway, China kind of dumb using 50s balloons. I mean, it was able to kind of operate undetected for a long time. You know? Member chat was the one you already read. Sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, guys. I'm sorry. I'm starting to like fall asleep. So I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I'm starting to like read these things and I'm like, holy shit, I'm getting tired. But in the meantime, guys, listen, thank you all very much. If you happen to be pro or against Hogwarts Legacy, you do you, boo. I think the game looks like a lot of fun. I think if you want to play it, play it. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. That's entirely up to you. I'm not going to chide you or applaud you one way or another. But I do feel that, how we react in these situations says more about us than it does about what it is we're fighting against or fighting for. And that's my take on that one. And of course here, will I do a audio commentary of Team America? Oh, eventually. Absolutely, Fezman. Yeah, I don't know when. I've been tempted. Okay, so I'll quickly say this, right? I've been tempted to like figure out a way to like do more episodes. They take time. I was talking about this. Okay, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you guys this. So I was responding to Jess in the Discord, and because I'd mentioned that the audio commentary of Silent Hill is up for the patrons, and he was like, "Oh, do I want to do Patreon?" And the reason why I explain this, I explain it like this. So doing a Hollywood After Dark episode, I can put together stuff that's going on for the day. I can get an episode done relatively quickly. Oftentimes I vibe with the chat. We do our thing. It's a lot of fun. Podio commentary on average takes me about 7 to 8 hours per episode. Now you may not think that by just listening to it, right? You may not think that, but let me explain. So it starts off with the research. The research is usually at minimum 2 hours. I got to go in. I got to find the stuff. For the Running Man episode, I just did that research this morning. Like I went to the Wikipedia. The Wikipedia had very little information, but I was able to kind of cobble together a pretty decent rundown of how things kind of came to be. It's actually really cool. So that took time. And then that takes about 2 hours. And then I got to watch the movie. So we average in about 2 hours on that. And then I have to record it. And the recording on that is on average about another hour. I wouldn't mind trying to make them a little bit shorter, but I like to go into the detail and stuff. So there's that. So then it takes the editing process. I have to edit the audio. Then I have to upload the audio. I have to then edit the YouTube video and get that together. And I just did a slideshow. I didn't do anything for Book of Eli, but I did a slideshow for Silent Hill, which I'll do the slideshows and then get all that up. So you're looking at about an approximate 7 to 8 hour period in order to get the episode done. Just one episode of the podcast, about 7 or 8 hours. It's crazy when you start breaking it down, how much time is actually spent doing the research. So that's why there is a Patreon perk for that. There's a tier for that because of just the time investment. Would love to do more, man. Would love to. If I had the ability, my God, I'd love to do one a day. Literally, I love talking movies. It's just, there's a lot there. So anyway, let's see here. Mo says, I loved your PC of the Mist. Thank you, Mo. I had fun doing that one too. I had fun doing that one as well. But there we go. So that's the reality of what's going on. So let us go to bed. I will go to bed. You will go to bed or do whatever it is you got to do. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you all later. I'll be on tomorrow night, definitely. Have a good one and peace out.